What's up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I didn't actually plan on going live for the FOMC meeting, but because I thought I was going to not be here, but I got back a few minutes early and I was like, you know what? Let's just jump on live real quick. We'll go through all of it. We'll talk about how things are going. And then in a little while, I'll make a full video later on today, kind of talking a little bit more in depth about all of this stuff with the FOMC meeting. As you all know, the FOMC meeting is actually starting in roughly 3 minutes or so. So I was like, you know what? Hey, let's just jump on and let's just kind of talk about all these things going on. So what I would like to do today is I would like to just watch the FOMC meeting together. Should only be about 20-30 minutes or so. We'll kind of see what's going on, what Jerome Powell is talking about, how they're feeling about things. And then what we'll do after that is then we'll jump onto the actual stream. I'll talk to you about the FOMC statement release that we did get earlier, talk about why this is actually not pretty bad. It's pretty good. I would actually say the fact that they're pausing interest rate cuts and they're not doing anything, it is exactly what the market expected. And so because of that, I actually think we're in a pretty decent spot. And yeah, so we'll talk about all that stuff in a little while here. But, you know, I did a live stream this morning and I was like, there's a chance that I may be able to go live whenever the FOMC meeting actually happens. And well, here we are. We're able to make it happen and happy to be on. So just wanted to hang out with you all and kind of watch the meeting together. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it and excited. And yeah, I know this is a little bit less put together and professional of a stream. Again, I actually had a flat tire, so I had to drive my car on my run flat tire all the way to the place and just hope for the best. That was very stressful. I didn't think I'd get back in time, but we got back in time. So I just wanted to hang out, jump on, and go through it. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to it. General consensus of the day is that things are looking pretty damn decent. I do like what we saw earlier. They came in and did exactly what we figured they were going to do, which is pause interest rate cuts. And that obviously was something that the market reacted okay to. You know, it's not very bad. Obviously, there is a lot of speculation right now out there in the market of what they're going to say in this meeting, which is kind of why you are noticing that. Look, here we go. This is why you're noticing it's pulling back, right? And a lot of these different cryptos are pulling back a little bit. It's quite simply because people are like, they're happy with what happened, but they're maybe a little bit skeptical. We did see in the press release that they said something along the lines of like they're harshly monitoring it and things like that. So I think people are really just speculating of what Jerome Powell's about to say, which is why the market is kind of just flip-flopping like this. Because if you look at the 4 hour, it looks like we've been going down. But if you look at the 1 minute, we've had a couple like bounce, drop, bounce, drop, bounce, drops. And so it's a lot of speculation going on right now. And so I want to hear exactly what Jerome Powell says. But one way or another, the market's not really doing anything that big. You know, it's not really making a gigantic move in the grand scheme of things, especially if you just zoom out. You can see here, right? We're pretty much in a similar spot, which isn't a terrible place to be. So yeah, because of that, I kind of want to just see what Jerome Powell says, kind of how he sounds, see if I can pick anything up from him, and then we'll go from there. One thing I will remind you of is that this is going to be a moment where the lizard people are going to try to take advantage of you guys. I'm just going to warn you now. In a period like this where we see this amount of liquidation on both sides, even if Jerome Powell says everything that we expect him to say, I do believe the lizard people are going to use a day like today to manipulate the market to try to capitalize on these liquidations. So don't be surprised if you see this market dropping, you know, Bitcoin especially, dropping $2,000 or $3,000 in either direction, right? Falling to 99,000 or pumping to 103,000 wouldn't shock me in the slightest, because all of these liquidations are on the table and they love using instances like this, these types of catalysts, to capitalize on those liquidations. So because of that, just be wary of that. But let's actually just watch the FOMC meeting, and then we'll kind of get into it later on. All right, let me do this. Give me 1 second. I'm coming, guys.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The economy is strong overall and has made significant progress toward our goals over the past 2 years. Labor market conditions
Tell me if y'all can hear that.
From their formerly overheated state and remain solid. Inflation has moved much closer to our 2% longer run goal, though it remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged and to continue to reduce our securities holdings. I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments.
I got to put a little background music on so I don't get taken down.
Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has continued to expand at a solid pace. For 2024 as a whole, GDP looks to have risen above 2%, bolstered by resilient consumer spending. Investment in equipment and intangibles appears to have slowed in the fourth quarter, but was strong for the year overall. Following weakness in the middle of last year, activity in the housing sector seems to have stabilized.
He's very quiet. I can't control his
market,
sound.
Conditions remain solid. Payroll job gains averaged 170,000 per month over the past 3 months. Following earlier increases, the unemployment rate has stabilized since the middle of last year, and at 4.1% in December remains low. Nominal wage growth has eased over the past year, and the jobs to workers gap has narrowed. Overall, a wide set of indicators suggest that conditions in the labor market are broadly in balance. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. Inflation has eased significantly over the past 2 years, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.6% over the 12 months ending in December, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8%. Longer-term inflation expectation, 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.6% over the 12 months ending in December, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8%. Longer-term inflation expectations appear to remain well anchored, as reflected in a broad range of surveys of households, businesses, and forecasters, as well as measures from financial markets. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. We see the risks to achieving our employment and inflation goals as being roughly in balance, and we are attentive to the risks on both sides of our mandate. Over the course of our 3 previous meetings, we lowered our policy rate by a full percentage point from its peak. That recalibration of our policy stance was appropriate in light of the progress on inflation and the rebalancing in the labor market. With our policy stance significantly less restrictive than it had been, and the economy remaining strong, we do not need to be in a hurry to adjust our policy stance. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5%. We know that reducing policy restraint too fast or too much could hinder progress on inflation. At the same time, reducing policy restraint too slowly or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. In considering the extent and timing of additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We're not on any preset course. As the economy evolves, we will adjust our policy stance in a manner that best promotes our maximum employment and price stability goals. If the economy remains strong and inflation does not continue to move sustainably toward 2%, we can maintain policy restraint for longer. If the labor market were to weaken unexpectedly, or inflation were to fall more quickly than anticipated, we can ease policy accordingly. Policy is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties that we face in pursuing both sides of our dual mandate. As we previously announced, our 5-year review of our monetary policy framework is taking place this year. At this meeting, the committee began its discussions by reviewing the context and outcomes of our previous review that concluded in 2020, as well as the experiences of other central banks in conducting reviews. Our review will again include outreach and public events involving a wide range of parties, including Fed Listens events around the country and a research conference in May. Throughout this process, we will be open to new ideas and critical feedback, and we will take on board lessons of the last 5 years in determining our findings. We intend to wrap up the review by late summer. I would note that the committee's 2% longer run inflation goal will be retained and will not be a focus of the review. The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer run inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Same old bullshit.
Chairman Steve Leisman from CNBC. Mr. Chairman, at a event in Davos, or from to Davos anyway, the president said he'll demand that interest rates drop immediately. So I guess I have a three-part question. Has the president done this to you? Has he made that demand? Secondly, what is your response to that? And third, what effect, if anything, if any,
Now
does
this is
the
juicy.
president making these kind of remarks have on policy? Thank you.
Three questions. I'm seeing it really as one question, though. So I'm not going to have any response or comment whatsoever on what the president said. It's not appropriate for me to do so. The public should be confident that we will continue to do our work as we always have, focusing on using our tools to achieve our goals, and really
So his
getting our
goal
heads
is to
down
do
and
the
doing
best
work,
by
and that's how we best
the
serve
public, but won't answer a question that revolves around what the president's trying to have him do. Right.
I've had no contact. Thanks.
Nick Timmeros, The Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, you and several of your colleagues said around the time of the last meeting that your policy stance was meaningfully restrictive. Given economic and financial market developments since then, how has your confidence changed in an assessment that says interest rates are meaningfully restrictive?
I don't think that my assessment really has changed. I mean, a couple of things have happened. We've gotten more strong data, but we've also seen rates move up at the long end, which could represent a tightening in financial conditions. I think if we look back over the past year or so, we can see that policy is restrictive. If you look at the effect of high rates on interest-sensitive spending, for example, in housing, and if you look at the achievement of our goal variables, we're seeing the economy move toward 2% inflation and has moved largely to maximum employment. So we really look at the movement toward the goal variables to make that assessment. Now, policy is meaningfully less restrictive than it was before we began to cut. It's 100 basis points less restrictive, and for that reason, we're going to be focusing on seeing real progress on inflation, or alternatively some weakness in the labor market before we consider making adjustments.
If I could follow
The
up,
music is on, so my stream doesn't get taken down.
meaningfully restrictive interest rates, and would you judge interest rates to still be meaningfully restrictive if you were to lower them by another quarter point?
So I think our policy stance is very well calibrated, as I mentioned, to balance the achievement of our two goals. We want policy to be restrictive enough to continue to foster further progress toward a 2% inflation goal. At the same time, we don't need to see further weakening in the labor market to achieve that goal, and that's kind of what we've been getting. The labor market has really been broadly stable. The unemployment rate has been broadly stable now for 6 months. Conditions seem to be broadly in balance. And I'd say you look at the last couple of inflation readings.
Hey, you remember when I told y'all a bunch of volatility was going to pop off for no goddamn reason on Bitcoin? Go look at Bitcoin's chart right now.
The last couple of readings have suggested, more positive readings. So I think policy is well positioned.
Colby Smith with the New York Times. Chair Powell, how should we interpret the removal of the line from the statement that inflation has made progress towards the 2% goal? Is that no longer the case?
No. So let me look. If you just look at the first paragraph, we did a little bit of language cleanup there. We took out a reference to since earlier in the year as it related to the labor market. And
Don't fall into this trap on Bitcoin right now. Volatility is going to be all over the place for a little while.
If you
Steer
look at
clear
the
for now, I think.
Meeting data was good, and there was another inflation reading, I guess, just before the December meeting. So we've got two good readings in a row that are consistent with 2% inflation. Again, we're not going to overinterpret too good or too bad readings, but this was not meant to send a signal. Other than this, you can take away from all of this that we remain committed to achieving our 2% inflation goal sustainably.
Follow up. We've seen inflation expectations across a number of measures rise sharply, which has in part been linked to tariff concerns. But there's also been this encouraging data that you mentioned in terms of CPI and rent indices. So how would you characterize concerns about upside risks to inflation across the committee, especially those tied to policies related to the Trump administration?
Well, I'd say you see expectations moving up a little bit at the short end, but not at the longer end, where it really matters. And those could be related to what you mentioned, some of the new policies. I think where the committee is very much in the mode of waiting to see what policies are enacted. We don't know what will happen with tariffs, with immigration, with fiscal policy, and with regulatory policy. We're only just beginning to see, and actually are not really beginning to see much. And I think we need to let those policies be articulated before we can even begin to make a plausible assessment of what their implications for the economy will be. So we're going to be watching carefully, and as we always do. This is no different than any other set of policy changes at the beginning of an administration. We'll patiently watch and understand, and kind of not be in a hurry to get to a place of understanding what our policy response should be until we see how it plays out.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio. You and your colleagues normally condition future policy moves with the phrase, if the economy develops as we anticipate. Is it fair to say that since there's a lot unknown about what this administration's fiscal policies are actually going to be, that you don't have a medium to long-term economic forecast that you can have confidence in? Or if that's not true, can you lay out what you think is going to happen in the economy, how you see it developing?
Well, at all times, forecasts are conditional at a minimum on just a set of expectations, and they're highly uncertain in both directions. We know that economic forecasting is really difficult beyond just a month.
Look
or
at
two
Bitcoin
out.
in the last 2 minutes, as I told you to not deal with that crazy
in the current
shit.
situation, there's probably some elevated uncertainty because of significant policy shifts in those 4 areas that I mentioned: tariffs, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulatory policy. So there's probably some additional uncertainty, but that should be passing. We should go through that, and then we'll be back to the regular amount of uncertainty. So, what forecasters are doing, not just us, but everybody's doing, is they've got sort of just a set of assumptions about what might happen, but they're really kind of in the nature of a placeholder. And meaning, plausible could be, but honestly, you wouldn't stand behind it because you just don't know. And so you're just on hold, waiting to see what comes down. It's a very large economy, and policies affected at the margin. But we're going to wait and see.
If I can follow up, the idea that you feel that policy is restrictive suggests that the Fed in general wants to continue to lower interest rates. So when you look at the data that you are dependent on, are you looking for data that tell you that you can cut, or data that will tell you you should hold?
We're looking. It's more the other. The way it works is we are looking at the data to guide us in what we should do, and that's what we do. And right now, we feel like we're in a very good place. Policy's well positioned. The economy's in quite a good place, actually, as well. And what we do expect is to see further progress on inflation. And as I mentioned, as we see that, or if we were to see weakening in the labor market, that could foster. We could then be in a position of making further adjustments. But right now, we don't see that, and we see things as in a really good place for policy and for the economy. And so we feel like we don't need to be in a hurry to make any adjustments.
Howard Schneider with Reuters. Thank you very much. In 2021,
I'm going to turn it
at a
off
central
rather
bank
soon.
conference, you said, quote, throughout my career in both public and private sectors, I've seen that the best and most successful organizations are often the ones that have a strong and persistent commitment to diversity and inclusion. These organizations consistently attract the best talent by investing in and retaining a world-class workforce. First question is, do you still believe that? And if so, how do you intend to put that belief into practice while remaining consistent with the recent executive order prohibiting diversity and inclusion efforts?
So let me
What
say,
the fuck does that have to do with the
yes, answer
economy?
your first question, but to the second question, I want to say this. We are, like others, we're reviewing the orders and the associated details as they're made available, and as has been our practice over many administrations, we are working to align our policies with the executive orders as appropriate and consistent with applicable law. And I want to add that I'm not going to have anything more specific for you today on this whole set of issues.
Well, if I could just follow up quickly on that, I'm wondering how you're getting that to be consistent with the Dodd-Frank law's stipulations about maintaining an Office of Minority and Women's Inclusion.
Bro, what does
So
it have to do with
I
the
did
economy?
mention consistent with applicable law, right?
Which is governing.
Elizabeth. Thanks so much. Elizabeth Schulze with ABC News. Just to follow up on Steve's question, what reassurance can you give the American public that the Fed will continue to operate independent of politics under this administration?
They can't. That's
You know,
how.
as I've said countless times over the years, this is who we are. This is what we do. We study the data. We analyze how it will affect the outlook and the balance of risks, and we use our tools to try to, given our best understanding, our best thinking, try to achieve our goals. That's what we do. That's always what we do. Don't look for us to do anything else. And that's, you know, lots of research shows that's the best way for a central bank to operate. That'll give us the best possible chance to achieve these goals for the benefit of the American people. That's always what we're going to do, and people should have confidence in that, as I said a few minutes ago.
You've said that the Fed is in wait-and-see mode based on the policies that come out of this administration. Has the Fed started to model what policies like mass deportations, changes in immigration policy specifically, would look like for the workforce and for inflation?
So one of the things our staff does is they look at a range of possible outcomes, and they tend to go from really good to really bad, and you know, it's one of the best things that they do. And in each teal book, you can look at the 5-year-old teal books and see there are alternative simulations. So that's what they do. There'll be a baseline, and then they'll show 6 or 7 alternative scenarios, including really good ones and not so good ones. And what those do is they spark, you know, the policymakers to sort of think and understand about the uncertainties that surround this. So yes, the staff does that, and we're all well aware that that the range of possibilities is always broad, and not just now, but always. And you have to. It's hard to be open to just how broad the possibilities are for an economy. You know, no one saw the pandemic coming, and it was, you know, it changed everything. So things happen, and but yes, we do that. But it's different. It's one thing to do that, to make assessments about what might happen and begin to think about what you might do in that case. But you don't act until you see much more than we see now.
Brother is allergic to the word yes or no.
Katerina Saraiva, Bloomberg News. You know, last month you talked about a future rate cut as being pretty, you know, significantly predicated on more progress in inflation. With the characterization of the labor market in the statement today, would you say that that's even more so the case now?
I'd say it's the same. You know, we want to see, you know, further progress on inflation. And, you know, the story's there. We're just going to have to see the data. At the end of the day, it comes down to 12-month inflation, because that takes out the seasonality issues that may exist. And, you know, we're just going to need to see that. We think we see the pathway for that to happen. One example, a key example, is that you now do see owner's equivalent rent and, you know, housing services, the way it's calculated for PCE. You see that coming down pretty steadily now. And that's the place where most of the remaining gap is. In addition, a big part of the overrun, as you will know, was from non-market services, which don't tend to. You can look through all that and think, okay, then we seem to be set up for further progress. But being seemed to set up for it is one thing. Having it is another. So we're going to want to see further progress on inflation. Remember, we're not, you know, we're under 2%, but our goal is 2%, and we do mean to get back sustainably to 2%.
And in terms of the labor market, I mean, how is that broadly, you know, you said a broad set of indicators show that it's in pretty solid place. Was there broad agreement on that? There's been a few underlying indicators that are showing perhaps some weakness, a low hiring rate, workers reporting that it's increasingly difficult to find a job. Is that of concern to the committee?
So you're right. I mean, we look at, of course, a very broad range. So it starts with unemployment, with the unemployment rate, employment, participation, wages, job quits, are people quitting, that kind of thing, the ratio of vacancies to unemployed. We look at all those things. And you put your finger, though, on it's a low hiring environment. So if you have a job, it's all good. But if you have to find a job, the job finding rate, the hiring rates have come down. And that's more typical of a, let's say that the unemployment, that the labor market is at a sustainable level. It's not overheated anymore. We don't think we need it to cool off anymore. We do watch it extremely carefully. It's one of our 2 goal variables. But I'd say we watch those things quite carefully. But nonetheless, overall, look at the aggregate data in the labor market. The labor market does seem to be pretty stable and broadly in balance when you've got an unemployment rate that has been pretty stable now for a full half a year.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. On employment, now you said there's a broad range of possibilities, but last September you said, quote, "We understand that there's been quite an influx across the borders, and that has actually been one of the things that's allowed unemployment rate to rise." Now that the flow of the border has slowed and we're seeing deportations, how do you expect the unemployment rate to react?
So what's happening is that the flows across the border have decreased very significantly, and there's every reason to expect that to continue. But job creation has come down a bit too. So, if those 2 things come down together, that sort of can be a reason for the unemployment rate to stabilize. In other words, the break-even rate, as population growth slows, the break-even rate that you need in new jobs to make jobs for workers declines as well. So that seems to be something about what's happening. You do see a very flat unemployment rate at a time when you've seen significant declines.
I want to ask you about Fed employment. I know that tax money is not used here.
If they keep asking the
Elon
same
Musk
questions, I'm going to turn it
alleges
off in a
that the
second.
Fed is, quote, absurdly overstaffed. We've seen the executive branch push to reduce the federal workforce. I just want to get your reaction.
We run a very careful budget process. We're fully aware that we owe that to the public, and we believe we do that. I've got no further comment than that. Thanks.
Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. President Trump has said he will lower inflation by reducing gas and energy costs. Do you see such costs as a particular driver of inflation, and would lowering them have a dramatic effect?
Chris, I'm not going to react or discuss anything that
Why?
an elected politician might say. So I'll give you a
It's
mulligan.
fucking ridiculous. I'm going to rant about that in a second. Let's just.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, the Fed said it was withdrawing from the network for greening the financial system, even as we have significant wildfires in Los Angeles doing billions of dollars in damage. And of course, the NGFS, as you know, is a group to talk about how the financial system could address climate change. Many commentators did see the timing as political. Why did you leave that organization? Can you explain that decision?
Sure, I'd be glad to. So we considered this, really at length, and we did decide to withdraw from the NGFS. And really the reason is that the work that the NGFS does has broadened very significantly. Think about nature-related risks and biodiversity and things like that. In addition, the work of the NGFS is in significant part intended to, and this is a quote, mobilize mainstream finance to support the transition toward a sustainable economy. So we joined to get the benefit of understanding what other central banks were doing and seeing research and things like that. I think this is just way beyond any plausible mandate that you could attribute to the Fed. And so we have a quite narrow role, as I've said many times, and I think that the activities of the NGFS are not a good fit for the Fed, given our current mandate and authority. So, and I just think it was time to acknowledge that, this process dates back, thinking about it dates back a couple of years. I made the decision to bring this to the board, some months ago. The process just took time to get here, and this is when we got it and voted on it. So And I'm aware of how it can look, but it was really not driven by politics. It was driven by kind of the disconnect between the work of the NGFS and our mandate. Other central banks have different mandates and belong to the NGFS. We have no.
Yeah, y'all tell me if he says something interesting, because
no criticism of them.
One last question.
Thanks. Andrew Ackerman with the Washington Post. I'm wondering if you could talk more about what further progress would look like for consumers.
Well, 2% inflation down to 2% sustainably is what we're trying to achieve. You know, we're somewhat above that, as you know, and you know we want to see serial readings that suggest that we're making further progress on inflation. That's what we want to see.
Okay, we get it. Yeah, oh my goodness. Y'all want to hear a rant for a second? Because it's just, I gotta let it out. I gotta let it out. You know, I gotta let it out, bro. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I want to rant first and then talk about what all this means for crypto, or do I want to talk about what it means for crypto and then rant first? I think I'd rather stop being irritated about it. So let's just rant for a second. Let's chat. Let's chat. So, I understand why someone like Jerome Powell will not want to get involved with certain things. Like the one reporter who was asking about random shit that had nothing to do with the economy, right? He doesn't get involved with that. I understand. He doesn't really answer any questions that has to do with the president or the vice president or any of that. I understand. This is what pisses me off. Let's just get... I'm going to put a vulgar language warning over the next 10 minutes of this video, so just skip ahead if the little ones are in the room, because I'm about to turn up a little bit. This is the shit that gets under my skin. When Jerome Powell was in his position while Joe Biden was president, he was happy to discuss any goddamn thing that Joe Biden said or mentioned if it had an impact on the economy. His stance was that as long as you asked a question about the president or politics that involved the economy, he was willing to answer it. But whenever it's a president who criticizes this motherfucker, he's not willing to talk about anything. And this is the problem I have with the Fed, is that they're not checked by anyone. They think they can do what they want, they can operate how they want, and that no one's going to check them. And the moment anyone criticizes them, they will not even address it, they won't partake in it. And it gets under my skin because it's fucking hypocritical. It's hypocritical. Because someone asked him a question, and they said, what was the question? It said something along the lines of, Jerome Powell had just mentioned something. They're going to take me off YouTube for this shit, but they mentioned something along the lines of, you know, when he was talking about the models, right? Okay, if people do get deported, how is that going to impact the economy, right? And he says, well, the good thing about it is, well, we have people on both sides, the good and the bad, who can forecast what could happen to the economy under certain sets of situations, right? Right. As they fucking should. It's the Fed. No shit. That's what you're supposed to do. Then they ask him a question. President Donald Trump said that he was going to help bring inflation down by lowering gas and energy costs. What do you think sort of impact that could have on the market? And this old lizard motherfucker really had the audacity to say, I'm not going to discuss anything that has to do with the president. So what you're saying is, if there is a possibility that Trump is going to do something that makes your job easier, or he does a better job at something than you're not willing to talk about it. How fucking ridiculous is this? It's pure ridiculous. These are the people who are in control of how much money goes into your pocket on a regular basis. How absolutely nuts is this shit? How absolutely nuts. Like, you know, I don't get like this on stream, and I try, you know, my wife tells me I gotta lower my goddamn blood pressure because I gotta calm down. But it's fucking mental. How petty is that? Your job is to not get involved. Don't fucking get involved. If they say that the president's going to do something to bring inflation down, how could that impact the economy? It is your goddamn job to answer the question. Because all he says, how often do we hear it? Oh, 2%. Oh, we got to get to 2%. Oh, we got to get inflation to 2%. This arbitrary, stupid fucking number that's not real. That's just a random number that they decided. It's 2%. That's all I fucking hear about. But whenever Trump says something that mentions inflation, oh, now you can't talk about inflation? Because I know you talk about inflation in your goddamn sleep. You have inflation written on your fucking mirror whenever you brush your teeth. Everything else is about inflation. But God forbid there's something that involves Donald Trump and inflation. Now you can't talk about it. It's fucking ridiculous. It's purely just ridiculous. And I'm sorry for losing it a little bit. This shit just gets under my skin. It makes my fucking skin crawl. So, all right. Back to reality. Sorry for the turn up. Sorry for the tangent. Let's end the vulgar warning right here. Now, what does this mean for crypto? It's not bad. It's actually rather good. Okay. It's actually rather good. Tyler Wise is good. So what they're saying, you know what, look, the better thing is, look, let's just go into the press release real quick so I can read it to you. Then I'll kind of translate this over. Okay. Let's just translate this over. Okay. Now that my rant is over, I'm going to try to calm it back down. I don't want my wife cussing me out. Here we go. Let's get the press release pulled up. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. And I want to point this out because we're kind of on the topic. I think I see your point, but I'd argue that without any serious plan to execute on that inflation reduction plan, he'd rather stay uninvolved. But he said that they have a team dedicated and assigned to assessing economic risks and good things about the economy based on possibilities, things that could happen in the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. So how is a possible plan from Donald Trump that involves inflation, which is the thing he talks about all day long, how is that not a part of what his team is assessing? It is. He just doesn't want to talk about it because he doesn't want to say anything that has anything to do with Donald Trump, which I think is ridiculous because at the end of the day, do you care more about your petty ass relationship with the president? You would disagree or agree with them? Or do you care about the people? That's what I want to know. Crazy, bro. Crazy, bro. This shit's stupid. This shit's stupid. Anyway. Shout out to you, FY advisor, though. You're my guy. Appreciate it. Or girl. I appreciate you. Okay. Anyway, let's go through the press release real quick. And, okay, I don't want to keep discussing it, but now I just have to address it. Trump only has concepts of a plan, though. 100%. Trump only has concepts as well of what mass deportation, right? So Trump says they're going to deport people, but he has plans for mass deportation. A reporter asked Jerome Powell how mass deportation would affect the broad labor market. And he said, we have models that show us how the economy would probably look under certain situations, very good ones and very bad ones, meaning hypothetical situations are being modeled every single day. He just does not want to address certain ones that make Trump look good, period. And it's very stupid. It's all stupid. It's just fucking stupid. Anyway, let's get into it. So, recent indicators suggest that economic activity has continued to expand at a solid pace. The unemployment rate has stabilized at a low level in recent months, and labor market conditions remain solid. Inflation remains somewhat elevated. The committee seeks to achieve maximum employment inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. The committee judges that the risk to achieving its employment inflation goals are roughly in balance. The economic outlook is uncertain, and the committee is attentive to both risks on the sides of blah, 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 blah. In support of its goals, the committee decided to maintain the target range, as we knew. The committee will continue reducing its holdings of Treasury securities and agency debt and agency mortgage-backed securities. The committee is strongly committed to supporting maximum employment and returning inflation to its 2% objective, unless Donald Trump is involved. In assessing the appropriate stance of monetary policy, the committee will continue to monitor the implications of incoming information for the economic outlook. Same old thing as usual. The committee's assessments take into account a wide range of information, blah, 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 blah. So, what does they say? What I will say is in the world of crypto, you got three options, and they go in this order. The best option is better than expected. That's always fantastic. But realistically, we weren't going to get a better than expected thing today because they can't, right? So what you have to understand is that in all criticisms aside, okay, all criticisms aside, the Fed is in a spot right now that is a little rough. And the reason that I say that is because people are struggling, but they're surviving. And inflation is being very annoying and it's being very sticky. Now, they caused a lot of the inflation by printing. I'm not going to get into it, but whatever. So they're in a bit of a rock and a hard place. Because if they make a move in either direction, they're risking something. So if they want inflation to go down and get through this little sticky phase, they might have to tighten up on the economy, which is going to take the okay economy we're in right now and make it much worse. If they want to go on the flip side and make the economy even better, they'll have to remove some of these constraints that they're putting on the economy, which is very likely going to make inflation really go up because inflation's already giving them problems. So they're in a bit of a weird spot. They're in a bit of a weird spot. And I respect that. I understand, look, it's a hard spot to be in. And so them coming out today and lowering interest rates, although it would be good for crypto per se, it wouldn't be a good idea. If we're just going to be honest here, it wouldn't be a good idea because inflation starts going up, everything goes down anyway. So it's not a good idea. So option number one, which is this coming in better than expected, it was pretty much off the table, which is why there was a 100% expectation of no interest rate cuts. We had two options today. Worse, I'm cool with that. We had two options though. Worse than expected or what we expected. And we got what we expected. I don't know what that is, but we're just going to go with it. So we got today what we expected. They're not going to cut interest rates. They're not going to raise interest rates. They're just going to watch and see how it plays out. So how does this impact, right? How does this impact crypto? It impacts crypto in a couple ways. Way number one is that it's very likely that the altcoin season is still going to just continue to get delayed. If you're really looking for a massive injection of liquidity into the altcoin market, it's not going to happen during a period like right now. It is going to take something like quantitative easing, which is something they're not doing quite yet. And so, one, it's going to wait a little bit longer. Now, the second way that this impacts crypto is they said something very specific. They said, we are kind of in a sit, watch, wait period right now because we want to see what Donald Trump's administration does to then base our next decisions off of. So even if they don't want to address it specifically, they did say that. And what does that mean? It means that what we see from the White House is going to shape the way that liquidity very likely trickles from the top down to the bottom into something like crypto. So what this means is that now we are also going to really incentivize or be incentivized as a community to watch what comes from the White House very, very closely. Because if the White House starts implementing policy or regulation that impacts the economy or crypto specifically, one of the two or both, in a good way, it's very likely not only just going to impact us, it is going to have more of a widespread effect, which could be good or bad for crypto. I would expect good. So what does this mean? It means that things are probably going to continue to get delayed. You're probably not going to see this market absolutely take off in either direction unless we get a catalyst. Something very terrible happens, Bitcoin could easily go down to 80, 90,000. Something very good happens, Bitcoin strategic reserve, we could see Bitcoin fly up towards 120, 130,000. Without a major catalyst, this is probably going to be a boring period in crypto. It's going to continue to be sideways. Now, there's good things about that. There's bad things about that. The good thing about that is it gives you time to start identifying value plays. So in a period like right now where things get boring, you start to recognize what is based on hype and what's based off of actual intrinsic value. What you want to do is you want to invest into things majoritively based on actual value. What cryptos have you invested in that are actually still up, performing okay or decently well, that are doing things correctly, right? They're still injecting value, they're still expanding, developing, and all of these things, right? If that you find those are the ones you want to invest in times like right now because those are what's on sale. But in a period like this where things are boring, you're going to start to see the ones that lack substance tanking. There's a reason why you see something like Trump coin down so much over the last couple of weeks. Is because at its core, there isn't a ton of value. Right? There isn't a ton of value from it. And so because of that, when people don't get that hype, that FOMO, that excitement, they're not as incentivized to purchase. And so in periods like this, what we start to see is the liquidity within crypto flowing back into value plays, things that actually have real intrinsic value, things that are actually good quality. And so this gives us an opportunity to find some of those quality plays while everything else is dead and dying at a good discount. The bad part about it is the manipulation continues. So I told you all at the very beginning of the stream that even if Jerome Powell comes out and he does exactly what we expect, there will be volatility because the little lizard people who control these markets, they're going to use this as an opportunity to force liquidations. Now, when I said that, I saw a few of you skeptical in the chat saying, like, no, that's not how this works. Okay. I want to show you something. What do you think that was? This is the minute charts. What do you think this was? Let me go here. Let me do this. What do you think this was? Nothing changed. The market got exactly what it expected. But Bitcoin went all the way down to right around 101,000 and all the way up to right around 104,000. Let me show you something. I intentionally didn't refresh this from before the beating. I want you to see something. Need I say anything? All of those people who could have got liquidated are gone. They just got liquidated. I knew probably going to see a liquidity hunt during this event because that's what the lizard people do. I'm understanding them now. It's gone. Hundreds of millions of dollars just got liquidated in that. Just wanted to put that out there. So what does that mean? We're probably going to continue to see this happening. It felt to me as if we were getting to a point where the market was getting away from allowing themselves to continue to get manipulated. It doesn't really feel that way as much anymore. My guess is that this market is going to continue sideways for a while. How long, I don't know. It just depends on what the president does. It really just does, because that's going to now affect economic policy and crypto, and both of which obviously affect crypto. Crypto affects crypto, and economic policy affects crypto, because we don't have any more macro catalysts in crypto, so we need more external macro catalysts, such as the economy. So it means that it's very likely that crypto is going to continue sideways. And as a result, like I told you, this is an opportunity to find valuable projects. Now, is there a time in which meme coins will continue to pump? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, guys, look, am I saying the only thing that will pump is value and utility? No, absolutely not. I'm sure you can see it. Fart coin doesn't have value. WIF doesn't really have value. Like, some of these meme coins, Pepe's jumping, right? A lot of these meme coins that don't actually have utility-based value, a lot of them aren't doing so well. I mean, a lot of them are still up. But the problem is that they're going to have really good days and really bad days that are going to be very volatile and all over the place. Whereas your crypto projects that are a little bit more intrinsically valuable are generally, during a period like this, an HMZ or a high manipulation zone, although they will be a victim to volatility as well, the volatility will be less. And so you're going to see them be a little bit more consistent, a little more sustainable, which is more appealing to institutional investment, which generally allows for inflows over a macro sense to increase, because they're not like a meme coin and they're not doing this all day long. They're a little bit more sustainable. That is where you're going to see the institutional money flow, which is what has been boosting meme coins, or just altcoins in general, for the last couple months. Retail investors are not the ones forcing this altcoin market up. It's institutions and whales. And so in a period like this, you get to capitalize on high value altcoins just like an institution does. And now is the time to capitalize on it. Sure, some meme coins like Fart Coin and Butthole Coin and Puke Coin are going to do well, but they're also going to do very bad. They're going to go very high up and go very far down. It's just what they're going to do. Fart Coin is up 11% on the hour, 17% on the day, but down 50% on the week. Put that into perspective. When you look at something like Ondo, 5% on the hour, 5% on the day. So very casual. But look at the week. No volatility, but it's still up 13% and 8% on the month. That's what you want. These are the ones you want to look for during times like this. But I will make a full video about that later and talk about what my exact strategy is. Okay? Talk about my exact strategy. And so with that in mind, that's where we are today. I try not to get too involved. I try not to express too much of an opinion on things that are outside of crypto, but I swear some of these politicians just make my skin crawl. And so I just had to express that. And I'm sorry for the rant. Sorry, I gave the vulgarity warning. But I just had to let that out there and just kind of tell you guys that. And so what does this mean for us going forward? Not much, really. It just pretty much remains the same. Bitcoin's very likely going to remain sideways for a little while unless a major catalyst shifts the market. What that means is we get more opportunity to look for these different cryptos that are on discount. Again, I think something like Ondo is a great example of that. You know, you look at something like Ondo towards the bottom of a move. You look at something like the battle signals. We got those bullish battle signals coming in here. I mean, you got the buy signals towards the bottom, right? Like these are the ones, even if it does continue downwards a little bit more, these are the ones I'm looking for because they're at a good discount right now. You're looking for those valuable projects. You're going to have more time to find those valuable projects. And as long as you're not on high leverage, as long as you're not doing big buys, and as long as you're not doing big sells, you will generally be A-okay. Okay. So it's just going to be a battle of the range. It's going to either take the economy doing better or a big catalyst to shoot this market out of this. And without that, I just don't see it happening. So it gives us time to continue to strategize and gives us time to continue to plan. What I will say, education is the best thing you can do right now. Brush up on new indicators, brush up on new strategies, brush up on new techniques. Recently, I've really been working in my knowledge on the Elliott's wave theories and just kind of establishing and associating how it works on certain time frames and looking at these things, right? That's the best thing that you can do right now. Because if you want to start making some huge moves during this, you're going to get caught in something you don't want to be a part of, guys. These things can last a very long time. I know you don't want to hear that, but it is the case. For example, we've realistically, let's say since right here to now, we've been in here for 79 days, 80 days of this sideways movement. Last year, guys, last year, realistically, there was about 200 days. So they can last a long time. And there's volatility along the way. Even if you want to say just the pullback before the pump actually started, that alone was 190 days. They can last a while. The lower the volatility, the shorter they last. I will say that. So I don't expect it to be 200 days, but just be aware this might go on for a while. Without a big catalyst, without better economic stature, we're probably going to just continue to see this sideways movement. What do? You don't get caught up in it. When we're at the very top of this range, don't open long trades. When we're at the very bottom of this range, don't open short trades. That's an easy way to handle this. Now, that's not financial advice. Do what you want, use your own strategies. This is my plan. But don't. What I'm going to do, if we see Bitcoin, for example, pull back to the bottom of this range, I'll buy a little bit of crypto and I'll buy a couple altcoins that are also at key levels of support. When Bitcoin comes back up and hits the top side of this range, I'll take a little bit of profit off the table and leave the rest to see what happens. And I'll continue to implement that strategy until something changes. Either Bitcoin loses support, and then I'll do some bigger purchasing down here, expecting that this would be some sort of shakeout, macro shakeout, or Bitcoin breaks resistance and I'll start closing down more pieces of my portfolio. It's very simple. You don't need to overcomplicate this. And I tell you all the time, there's no need to overcomplicate it. And so that's my strategy. That's where I'm at. And that's how I'm feeling about it. Let this play out and don't get caught up in this BS. Because I showed you, we watched a liquidation hunt happen live on stream today. I didn't refresh this for a reason, because I just knew that we would see liquidations on both sides as volatility picked up. And that's exactly what happened. And just for funsies, watch this. Look how it's shifting again. It's going to continue to shift. And what you don't want to do is get involved. You don't want to get involved with this. Okay. So with that in mind, let's answer a couple questions. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump off. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump off after we answer a few questions. So feel free to leave the questions in the chat. You guys know I got to shamelessly shill. There's a couple things I want to tell you about. I know I told you about a few of them this morning, but I'm going to tell you about a few more. Leave your questions in the chat right now. We'll answer those questions, and then, we'll go ahead and wrap this bad boy on up. But let me shamelessly show for a second, as I mentioned before. Shameless plug number one. If you guys are wanting to start getting some trading today, again, remember, I am not doing any high leverage trading whatsoever, so take that as a warning. But if you are leverage trading, it's a part of your strategy. You can use that link to WEEX or WEEX, link in the description below. You can get up to $20,000 in bonuses, literally $20 for just signing up and adding a recovery number and email. There's a bunch of options there, so you can get some free trading money, so feel free to go check that out. The link is in the description. Let me know how you feel about that. The second thing is, of course, if you guys do want to see more information and insights about what I'm doing, thinking, and much more whenever it comes to my own personal portfolio, you can check out the school. Our goal in the school is very simple. We take crypto investors, we give you a bunch of value like courses and workshops and much more to help you refine your strategies to create gains. Okay. Best part about it is you get your money back guaranteed if you don't like it. And well, it starts as little as $5 a month. That price will never be the same again. I have big news dropping on Friday night, so stay tuned for that. But just know the next 2 days are the last 2 days. Let's just leave it like that. Okay. With that in mind, let's answer some questions. Alrighty. If you master at least waves, can you make a video to teach us? I mean, it's hard to tell when you've mastered it, right? But yeah, I mean, Powell is talking about crypto. Now that is something that'll spark my interest.
Just going to leave it at that. As I mentioned, I'm not going to, it's been a little higher for banks and gate
Oversight Council. Among the risks outlined is cryptocurrency.
I want y'all to hear whatever he just said. Let's see. Hopefully I don't have to cook him. Shares tab.
Could you talk about those risks now? And regarding individuals and households, perhaps distinct from the concern about the financial system, do you worry that speculation in this unregulated asset class could hurt their financial well-being, or do you think it has a place in a household's portfolio?
You know, so our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and you know, we think it's, you know, banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As a good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. You know, the threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in crypto activities, and that's because they're so new, and you know, we don't want to make the mistake. If you're making a choice to conduct that activity inside a bank, which is inside the federal safety net, with deposit insurance, then you want to be pretty sure that it's a safe and sound activity. So, we're not against innovation, and we certainly don't want to take actions that would cause banks to terminate customers who are perfectly legal just because of excess risk aversion, maybe related to regulation and supervision. So.
And with respect to households and their inclusion in the asset class?
That's kind of it's not really our bailiwick. You want people to be knowledgeable about the financial engagements that they have. And that's why we have, the securities laws that we have. It's why, if you read a mutual fund prospectus or individual stock prospectus, you want households to have the chance to understand the risk that they're taking. And, I do think it would be helpful if there were a greater regulatory apparatus around crypto. And I think that's something Congress was working on quite a lot. We've actually spent a lot of time with members of Congress working together with them on various things. And I think that would be a very constructive thing for Congress to do. Thank you.
Not bad. I give it to him. I give it to the old lizard. Not bad. What a flip that was. Does anybody remember how he acted about crypto literally like 6 months ago? Shocker. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I feel bullish, like a little bit, which is such a moon boy ass word to use right now. But I like the fact that he said that. I don't really give a shit, though. It's not like the Fed can do anything that involves crypto for the most part. Like, they wouldn't. So to me, that's just a dude saying he likes crypto. So yeah, welcome to the party. You're late. You're late. The DJ is already shirtless. Come on, player. But I don't know. I mean, I like it. Like, I give him a little bit of props. It's like, okay, well, at least you open your eyes up a little bit. I know it's a little bit difficult with the scales and stuff, but whatever. But the dude, just what he did earlier with avoiding the question, just got under my skin so much. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. It all comes down to the economy in the White House now. That's it. That's what it comes down to. Because you can't expect assets to just always go up. You can't really expect that. It's always going to come down to how the economy is performing and how the underlying value performs. Well, the underlying value in crypto, for the most part, is going to continue to go up. So then that means that we're going to need a better economy. We're going to need retail investors. And if we don't get retail investors, it's just going to be an institution-based cycle. This cycle will be completely about institutions. That is possible. It's a card that's on the table now. Just got to see how it plays out. All right. Let's see. Curious. Let's see here. I want to see something real quick before we go ahead and wrap it on up. This is the second stream of the day, guys. How crazy is that? I don't think I've ever done this. That can't be true. I don't think I've done this more than like a couple times. Let's see. Here it comes. Yep. But you see how all these people are entering on these long trades? Turn on the battle signals. How are we looking? Yeah, we had a couple bearish battle signals going off there, but we're actually seeing decent continuation right now for Bitcoin. Obviously, had the descending channel, broke above it, cleared it. So, I mean, I think reasonably could see Bitcoin's price try to chase. Yeah, I mean, I think if we break through 104.2, I think pushing up towards 104.6 is very possible. That doesn't align with any liquidation. Yep, that aligns perfectly with liquidation. So, wouldn't shock me if we do see this market continue to try to chase all these liquidations down right here and just reassess after that. So, should be interesting. I'll keep you guys updated, though. Oh, man. What a day. I'm glad I jumped on. I'm glad I didn't mean to do that, but I wasn't expecting to have to, oh, looks like maybe we're going to chase those liquidations right now, actually. Juicy, 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 juicy. Look at that. How are we looking on the waves? N5 right now. Nah. I think that's going to reshift. Interesting, dude. Crazy stuff. All right, any questions? Anybody need anything, or are we all good? I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up in a second here. Like I said, don't forget to check out the link to WEEX and check out the link to the school down in the description below. Just remember, with the school, nothing will ever be the same after Friday night. I just know that. So if you're interested, check it out. Alrighty. Yep, looks good though. All right, anyway. Oh, we just got the battle signal print. Man, I can't go, dude. Frick. Every time I want to go, it keeps popping off. We just got a bearish battle signal on the 1 minute here on Bitcoin. That's interesting. How we looking momentum-wise? RSI giving us early signs of short-term bearish divergence. That's spooky. Smashing them, dude. I mean, absolutely smashing through these liquidations. That's fucking nuts. Oh, I tried to warn him. Oh, and there it is. There it is. Second battle signal goes off as we hit that $104.6 thousand level like we just talked about. And now, go-boom. Smashed them. Squished them like bugs. It's a cold world. My word. Liquidations, man. Liquidations just got destroyed. Wow, 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 wow. Decimated. Absolutely decimated. Going to be way higher than this tomorrow. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, already picking up from the last couple of days. Craziness. Nuts, dude. And look, immediate rejection. Wow. Wow, look at that. Battle here. That's a real battle. Second battle signal didn't print on the close. Interesting. But we did get that first one. Man, look at how that battle signal called this freaking little micro pullback, just like back here. That's crazy. Fibonacci extension, bearish divergence, battle signal pullback. Nuts. Let's see if it maintains or if it starts to run. That's crazy stuff right there. Nuts. Dang it, are we going to be hanging out? I guess we're going to hang out for a little bit longer. Let's see. Fuck yeah, look at Ondo running. What a battle. What a battle. Let's see. Can we go shorter? Nah, I don't have the seconds on this one. I could get the ticks, but the ticks would be nuts. Let's see. What do y'all think? That's curious. It's going to come down to this. Here it comes. Let's see. I'm curious. Liquidity hunts live in the flesh. Wow, 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 wow. How fun. Man, that's looking strong. I wish I could see the 30s. No, that's looking rough, though. I don't know. It's going to take like 4 or 5 of these closes to see. I actually don't usually do this part on stream. I usually just stare at this and talk to myself. So pretty fun having you guys here with me. What y'all looking at? Oh, my goodness. I just love watching liquidity hunts, bro. They're so fun. Walk a noob through the battle signal. Yeah, so the battle signals are just it's an indicator I've been developing for a couple weeks, or no, about 9 weeks now, so a little bit over 2 months. They just start highlighting where key zones of liquidity are, and then when you can start to expect to see the price reverse. So like you see how, watch, I'm going to let them recalibrate here, but you're going to see like it printed 2 bearish signals right here, and that's just a signal that the bears are starting to win the battle right here, and then the price went down, and then obviously right here, we saw that battle signal live time, and then it pulled back. So I've just been working. It's not for sale right now or anything, just because if I do sell it, I want it to be really good. So I've been still back testing it a lot more. It's been ready for, I could probably release it at some point, but I just, I don't know. I don't really like selling stuff here on the channel all that much. I'd rather just use it. So anyway, shout out to you, Sean Ryan. Happy to have you. Oh, here it comes. Let's see. Oh, buddy. The back test is happening. I don't think I can say that. This is like a live Reddit. Yeah, no, this is I can't digital assets. Digital assets, why are you so passive aggressive? Jesus Christ. You can't give things like this for free because once people start using it, there's management and development costs, and it wouldn't make sense for me to just pay for people to use it. All right. Yeah, shout out to you, Gilberto. You get it. Oh my goodness. I love you, digital assets. You're fun. Oh my guy, Edward Horton in the building. What's up, homie? Shout out to you, homie. Yeah, it's an indicator that has a developer that's making it. And so as we go in and continue to change it, I got to pay for that. And then when people start using it, then you got to pay for it. Shout out to you, Catherine. Do a sub giveaway. What should we give away? Man, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. Look at this. Oh my goodness, we're in it. Let's see. Do we break it? Do we get rejected? Do we go range bound? What happens? Oh my goodness. What do y'all think? Y'all think we're breaking 104.6 or no? I feel like I used to listen to that radio station when I was a kid. Oh man, look at that runner. That's a runner. Love to see it. Wowza. Give me those back. Oh, it's because I have my visual. Oh, okay. It's going to have to recalibrate off the visible range. Okay, I'll give that a second then. Crazy. This is fun. How's that looking now? Let's see. Wow, under a billion. Under a billion on the dailies. That's nuts, dude. We just watched the shorts get absolutely fucking wrecked. Oh my god. How many was it? Can I see that? Let's go look. Who's that dork? Let's see. I think there has to be a way I can. Let's see. Look at this, dude. Oh my goodness. So we were at over 2 billion in liquidations at the beginning of the stream. Yeah. Wow. Down to 743 million cumulative. 1.3 billion in shorts either closed or got liquidated. Whoa. For no reason. Nothing even happened. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Nothing even happened. What are they talking about? What's the school talking about? What are they looking at? See, they get it. Everybody in the school knows how this shit goes. Sacred back test. Let's see. Oh, that's a gnarly one. Oh, that's a gnarly one. Oh, that's a gnarly one. Oh, goodness. Got the close. No bearish divergence, though, but that's rough. What was that off of? Let's see. Had to be microfibs, right? Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. That's not good. Rejection off that 1.272, immediate loss of the golden zone. You don't love to see that. I mean, I don't really care what happens, but these short-term time frames only matter if you're leverage trading on high amounts. I hope you guys know that. I'm literally just watching it just for funsies. I would be more willing to bet that we might. That's a bit of a stretch. I don't really like that read. I don't like that read. I don't like reading that as a 1. But I guess you technically have to, because I don't think this wave is bigger than the 1 wave, and the 3 wave has to be the. I mean, yeah, because the 3 wave has to be bigger than a 5 wave. That's the only count that would make sense right now. But that's gnarly. That's an ugly one. Oh, buddy. Let's see if they got wiped. Yo, God. Everybody's losing. My word. It's so ugly. We should put on some tunes, right? I guess we're just going to hang out for a little while. Y'all want to just hang out? Should we just chit chat or no? Because I planned on ending the stream like 30 minutes ago. I'm not gonna let's put on a little tune, huh? Put on a little tune and hang out. I'm probably not going to say anything valuable for the rest of the stream. I'm just going to be hanging out. So do with that as you may. Wish I could put on that little song I played earlier. What is this? Not that. Oh, I like this little song right here. Makes me feel real loose. You're looking. Whoa! 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 Bro said, I'm looking at feet pics. Whose? I am from Louisiana. The good old boot. Lasting like everything. I would agree to some degree. I think Elliot's wave is very good when it comes to hypotheticals. So like whenever you want to start establishing like confluence on hypothetical situations, I think Elliot's wave is fantastic. But I think outside of that, it's obviously just kind of a back tester. Whoa! What? I've got double pink eye. Dude, what were you doing to get double pink eye? My word. I won't even ask that. I don't know. It's a gnarly reset. Was that back to the 50 or no? Not yet. Almost though. Yo, a bullish engulfing into a bearish engulfing would be nuts. That's not a bullish engulfing though, I don't think. Oh, yes it is. Yes it is, technically. Any liquidity there? Let's actually, you know what? I want to switch charts real quick. Do we have any battle zones? Yeah, we're at the bottom of one right now. I hate the fact that it... How do I turn off my... let's do that. There we... nope, that's the opposite of what I wanted to do. There's a way that I can... let's do that too. Okay. It has to. I just can't remember what it is. Do you think we'll see a long liquidation next? It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. The lizards are gonna run out of time for this volatility, so I would expect it, but hard to tell. I wish I could take snapshots of it. What are we at? Let's see. 2.79 Billy Vanillis and right under a 1 Billy Vanilli here on the Bitcoin 1 day. What's the 7 day looking like? Still high. Still high as hell. Oh my goodness. How many is that? 5 Billy Vanillis on the bottom and 4 on the down. That's nasty work. Got smashed on Binance. Oh, that's because this is... Okay, I was about to say. So crazy. What a fucking run, dude. Still a ton, man. Still a ton. This thing could... I mean, like... Are we 5-waving up to a full liquidation? How nutty would that be? How nutty would it be if we push all the way to, say, like 1.7... 107... 107.3 the dog. That'd be nuts. We're struggling though. We're struggling at these peaks. Every time we hit these peaks, we're really struggling a ton. Battle signals keep going off. Like we tried to push here, battle signals, try to push here, battle signals. We're struggling. And I don't think... Yeah, the big battle zone's down here. So that's where most liquidity is. Let's see. Yeah, we really struggled harshly to hit that. we struggled harshly for the full extension. We had like a half extension, which is usually a sign that this was a bullish wave, but this lost a lot of steam as we only got 50% through that extension. We hit the 1.414, which is like a very, very, very weak Fibonacci extension zone. So getting a rejection off of that is a little bit like, oh shit, you know. But I mean, reasonably, coming back down and back testing on the gold zone makes a lot of sense. Like from a macro perspective, because I don't believe we didn't quite get there this time. What we did is we had this RS flip here. We had the RS flip here, used it, took off, now come back down, fell the RS here, but we did have a wick, meaning liquidity is mostly here. Coming back down towards this little golden zone and then try to make that run. If this is successful, you know, wave 5 upwards, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, it's not Elliott's wave theory. It's completely diverged from Elliott's wave theory at that point because this third wave wouldn't be as big as the first, or it'd be smaller than the first wave, and that's just not how this works. Yeah, that wouldn't be the case. So it wouldn't be an Elliott's wave push, but it would be some sort of 5-wave string upwards, which is weird. Alrighty. Curious. See what they're thinking. Tyler, do you still do MMA to a degree, or are you completely stopped? Why does your right arm bicep look bigger than the left one? So, 2 reasons. Thing number 1, no, I am not fighting anymore. As of right now, at least. I'll maybe get back into it one day, but just not right now. And my left bicep looks smaller than the right one because I had a shoulder surgery. I detached my shoulder and my bicep, so they had to replace it, and where they put it back on is a little bit off from where it was. Shout out to Steve OJ94. OJ. What are your expectations for Treb on base? Can't have base without treble. The first module V4 decks on base, less than a week since its launch, and TVL is insane. That was a solid pitch. I haven't really looked at it at all. I do appreciate it, and obviously I know you just kind of wanted to get on the screen and let people kind of see it. So feel free to go check it out and let me know what you think, guys, but I haven't looked at it. So shout out to you. Why is Powell so important? That's a beautiful question. Great job. Why is Powell so important if he can't do anything with Bitcoin? The reason he's so important is because what Jerome Powell's committee decides what happens in the economy in terms of constraint and liquidity. And what happens with the economy is then going to impact crypto. So if they lower rates, people can get access to more money, and then people invest that money into Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up as a result of what Jerome Powell does, even though he can't directly just go in and really do much with crypto reasonably. I hope that makes sense. What about Bitcoin dominance? Ooh, what's that doing? Okay. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. I think I might have been right. Folks. You guys remember back in the very end of December, I had a conspiracy that we might be seeing the cup and handle playing out for Bitcoin dominance? I think I might have been right. We were back like right here, roughly. And I just threw it out there. Like, hey, maybe we bounce off of one of these zones here, and maybe we just make a run back to golden zone and trace back and try to put in the cup and handle to start trying to extend all the way back up to like 63%. Shoot. Because there's room to run. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. My bad. I thought y'all could see it. So I remember I told you guys with Bitcoin dominance, which remember is just the performance of Bitcoin versus altcoins. I told you all to keep an eye on it because we were like back here. And I was like, look, I think there's maybe a reason to believe we are trying to cup and handle right now. Well, look at this. If you think about the cup line as the golden zone, so attaching the bullish structure to the golden zone, hey, I mean, if we see Bitcoin dominance break 60.2%, Bitcoin is going to get full control of this market. I don't know how I feel about that. That would either have to do with the market absolutely dumping and Bitcoin not dumping as bad, or Bitcoin absolutely pumping because of a reserve. That is a spooky ass scenario because you don't know which one is going to be. I could reasonably see both. I think it would be more likely for Bitcoin to run and the alts not run so much rather than a dump, because I don't know what would cause the dump right now, because prices are being floated by institutions. So it would take institutions just dumping, because retail has been selling off. So it would take institutions dumping for Bitcoin to dump. And I don't see that happening. I don't know why that would happen now if it didn't happen the last couple of weeks. So it would probably more align with Bitcoin running against the market. But shoot, it's interesting to say the least. Look at that. Wow, 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 wow. Shout out to you, homie. Shout out to you, Mark Taff. Much appreciated. I'm also an MMA fighter until I got addicted to crypto and went from making gains in the gym to making gains in the wallet. Love to hear it. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Yeah, shout out to you, Ms. Jackson. Happy to have you. Sorry I got a little vulgar. You know, I just get a little irritated sometimes, and I can't really help it. So all the hype around 4-year cycle is just BS. Are we not expecting a pump at the end of the year? No, we very well could. I'm not going to say we couldn't. But I do believe that, yeah, I mean, 4-year cycle pattern theory will probably break at some point. Does it happen this time? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's broken. I mean, realistically, like, if we're going to be technical, Bitcoin hit an all-time high this year, right? It hit an all-time high on January 21st. So technically speaking, the 4-year cycle could be complete and fall within the realm of technicalities, but who really wants a technicality? I guess we'll see. I don't understand a lot about Bitcoin dominance and altcoin, but if Bitcoin had a big dominance, is it not a good idea to buy altcoins? Yeah, it just depends on your time frames, right? So if Bitcoin dominance starts going up, the higher it goes, the more. Oh, should we go to the other setup or no? Never mind. Sorry. The higher up that Bitcoin dominance goes up, the more likely it is that eventually we will see Bitcoin dominance fall, right? It's just one of those things. The higher it goes, the more likely it is to fall. So rotating to try to front run that shift, not a bad idea. So, okay, Bitcoin dominance goes up, means we're in Bitcoin season. So you start buying altcoins to try to start getting a hedge into your altcoins before we go into an eventual altcoin season. The problem with it is, though, is that altcoin seasons take very long to happen sometimes, or they just don't happen. And while you are buying altcoins instead of Bitcoin, you're actively buying something that will continue to perform worse than the other thing you could have bought, meaning you're taking opportunity losses. So it's like, I wouldn't be doing that a ton, but it's not like the worst thing on earth to do. The news is already out. I don't really think Bitcoin's going to go that far in either direction, to be honest. But I may be wrong. I mean, we'll see. We're having a pretty solid day today, as of right at this exact moment. What site are you using to track liquidations? Yeah, look. I am on this one. It is coinglass.com/pro/futures/liquidation map. Just a lot of experience, homie. That's all. All right, what's going on? Let's see. Wow, dude. It's almost all gone. Fuck's sake. Oh, these ones are spooky. Spooky. $3 billion in liquidations of Bitcoin goes back towards 97K. Fuck. Oh, I hope that doesn't happen. But it might. We just got to be okay with that. See what happens in a minute. This has been fun. Let's see. That looks to me like an ascending structure. Maybe. Or spooky. Let's see. I'm curious. No divergence on the shorter time frames. No divergence on the topper time frames. Okay. Bollinger Bands bouncing under that 20 simple moving average. Not bad. Volume is slowing down, I would assume. Yep, volume is slowing down as you would expect. Battle signals not flashing. Elliot's wave showing a possible push towards the upside here. Interesting. That looks a little bit more like a one wave to me. I'm more willing to accept that than that BS one wave it had earlier. That would imply that a possible push up towards 105 is on the way, which would align with the kill shot. The destruction of all these short traders right here. That wouldn't shock me. Then maybe some sort of pullback. Maybe we pull all the way back off of that and come back down and start chasing these little ones away. Interesting. could you just say about how to relate liquidations map with the trade charts? Yeah, so I have a general belief that the crypto market is manipulated by people who have scales that I call the lizard people, who try to force people to get liquidated. So, so what I mean by that is if you open up a long trade and the price goes down, you lose, they take your money. If you open up a short trade and the price goes up, you lose, they take your money. So what I think is that they move these markets in either direction. And it goes a little bit deeper than this, but this is just a surface level way of explaining it. I believe that this is the way that the market is manipulated up or down in order to force these liquidations to happen. So whenever you have huge liquidations in either direction, if they align with your technical analysis breakout targets, it typically could imply that there's confluence, generally meaning that, you know, you could for some reason see the push. So for example, in this example right now, we have a Fibonacci extension level at $105,000. When you relate that to your liquidation chart, you can see that at $105,000, almost on the money, there is roughly 18 million plus, let's say $90 million worth of liquidations that would happen. So it would make a lot of sense for the price to go up that high so that they could liquidate those people and reach the confluence of that breakout target. Yeah. Are the lizard people mid to long-term bullish though? Yeah, long-term, I think. Wait, what? Digital asset? What is that leg? Are you 7 foot? No. Chill, G. I'm only 6'2". I ain't the biggest dude ever. I ain't gonna lie. Solana keeps taking punishment after punishment. It doesn't go down. Yeah, let's see. What's Solana up to? 235. What's funnier than 24? Let's see. What's Solana up to? God dang. Look at that. That's pretty cool looking. Almost makes me wonder if we're double bottoming here for Solana. It would make sense. It would make sense for Solana. You take the fake out, boom, because we've seen that from Solana a lot, right? Maybe you take this little fake out here. No, it's probably just descending structure, now that I think about it. So what you probably had was the bullish pennant that fell to the downside, liquidated all the long traders who expected it to break to the upside, comes down, run into liquidations, liquidates everybody from within the channel, then comes back down, creates a descending structure, and then tries to use the descending structure to make a run back up to 270. I think that's reasonable. I don't see a reason as to why that couldn't happen. Yeah, Solana's looking juicy, baby. I kind of like what I'm seeing here. Kind of like what I'm seeing here. Dude, I love traveling. Don't get me wrong. And San Francisco is amazing. But God, do I love being home. I just love being home. And I love live streaming with you guys. Even though Digital Assets makes fun of me. Juicy, juicy, juicy. Hi, Tyler. Just stumbled over your channel, left a subscription. Greets from Switzerland. Shout out to you, Mr. New Creation. Happy to have you on the channel, my friend. I am a little bit all over the place. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes our streams are super professional. Sometimes they're like this, where I couldn't really tell you what we've done for the last 20 minutes. We just hang out and we chit chat, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm never gonna tell you what the market is gonna do. I'll tell you what I think it's gonna do. Big difference. And I'm wrong. Not a lot, but rather often I'm wrong about things. So I just hope you guys understand this. Shout out to Miko Ubaldo, a Patreon subscriber all the way from the Philippines. Happy to have you. Happy to have everybody from the school. What's the school up to? I forgot about that. Let's see. Oh, shout out to you. Back to Uber. Tyler's merging with a couple others in the cryptoverse to create a big crypto school. Nothing released yet. I believe it meant to be sometime in Feb. Ooh. Keep it on the low. Who told you? Dude, I don't know. They suspended my Twitter and I can't get it back, and I don't know what I did. But I would assume calling people lizard people will piss some people off. So, oh well, I guess. It is in the link in the description down below. Check that out if you want. Let's get into some alpha. What alpha you want? What alpha you want? I'll tell you anything you ask, except for like a lot of stuff. Hey, bro, love your work. Can you please explain a bit about your training school and what you cover, want to learn? Yeah, man. So the training school is pretty sweet. We have a whole bunch of stuff in here. We have Insights with Tyler, which is where I go in and give my general thoughts and insights about the market. We have a bunch of live shows with a bunch of other creators, for example, such as, Money and I, Lewis, Crypto Moses, Gabriel, a whole bunch of people in there. We give daily technical analysis, daily fundamental analysis. We have a team of professional traders posting buy and sell signals. We have a couple coaches who give their thoughts and insights on what's happening in the market. As you can see here, we have technical analysis deep dives. We have TA to go where people can request technical analysis on anything. We have education and a bunch of like learning sessions and stuff. We have premium classes on things like, moving averages and indicators and much more. We have little mini series, that we kind of post in every now and then. We got a whole bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool. And it's all available for you in the description down below. You can sign up for as little as $5 a month, but only for the next 2 days. Only for the next 2 days, and then we're going to go ahead and change some stuff up. Let's see. What's happening here? What is happening here? Oh, I think my car might be ready. Shoot. Yeah, my car's ready. Dude, I freaking hit a construction screw. Y'all ever seen a construction screw that are like that big? I have one. I had one in the side of my tire. I leave for San Francisco knowing it's in my tire. I get home. I have zero pressure in my car. So I have to drive 20 minutes at 5 miles an hour on a run flat tire. And it's just ba-boom, 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 ba-boom the whole way there. But we got it fixed. I have hit 8 screws in 3 years. All 8 needed a tire replacement. Call it bad luck. Call it bad luck, boys and girls. It is monthly. Hope you're having a great day. Was wondering what you think of Ondo and where you see it going this bull cycle price prediction. I don't particularly have a price prediction, but I do really like Ondo. I did buy a little bit. I added it to my bag. Pretty happy with my bags. I can actually show you where I bought it at if I'm going to be transparent. Yep, so I bought some Ondo at $1.30. I bought a little more Ondo around $1.30. I bought a little bit at $1.39. I think I bought some at like $1.26. Yeah, $1.26 on the 17th, and it is currently at $1.50. That means that my purchases, which is average cost right around here, that means I'm up about 12% on Ondo. Not bad. Ondo is running into a macro zone of resistance, so that is something to think about, right? Very well could get rejected to the downside, but I would say it's reasonable to believe that Ondo could push upwards of $2.60 to $3.30, which could imply that it still could run another 70 to 100% on the mid to short-term time frames, especially considering all of this room is now opened up to the top side as a result of this macro correction here on the RSI towards the 34, which is a macro level of support. As you can see here, this was the level down here that triggered the same push from here to here. So reasonably saying, I think we could go there to there over an extended period of time. So for Ondo, I still think that I'm going to be able to bag in another like 80 to 100% gainers. So I'm not going to do too much. Yeah, I know. I have a run flat, so you can go like slow, but I had no idea. Or no, I didn't have a choice. Cause I wasn't gonna put a friggin' a dropped down C8 Corvette on a tow truck. It just wasn't happening. It's not the best car ever. Don't get me wrong. It's not a friggin' McLaren or anything, but I didn't want to do that because tow people, they get a little rowdy. They get a little rowdy with your vehicular binoculars. What are the next big events that can impact crypto? Inflation reports, FOMC meetings where something happens, economic policies from the White House, crypto-based regulatory policies from the White House, progress from the SEC task force, crypto task force, stuff like that. Very, very minimal things. Oh, I'm sorry. What? I think intrinsically valuing a crypto would be a fun project. I think that'd be pretty fun. It's hard to do though, because I'm not very good at that. Like, I don't know how to actually determine the intrinsic value as a like an objective number. I am good at saying when I think something is intrinsically growing or dropping in value. That would be pretty proud. I think that would be actually pretty good for what's it called? A little series or something. That'd be pretty sweet. But it carries a trading mindset. Any type of legislation would be a catalyst. Agreed. My dogs are fighting. Are liquidity pools a viable option for someone that doesn't have much money to invest? No, I don't think that's a great idea. It's not, I'm not, okay, no, it's crazy. Yes, of course, but that's not the route that I would take, personally. If you don't have a lot, I would start with very, very basic and beginner stuff. I value intangible assets for a living. Really? What do you do? How does that work? What do you do? Nice. What was your buy-in? 138 to 145. Oh, was your 130? So what? You had like a $1.41 average cost. What's Bitcoin doing, boys and gals? Let's see. Ooh, juicy, juicy, juicy. What are they doing? Are they letting these liquidations build up? Let's see. I bet they go up a little. There you go. I told you. Did we cross a Billy Vanilli? No, not yet. Letting these liquidations build up on both sides just to wreck them. Watch this. Watch this shit. So you see how we're consolidating? It ain't going to take long. Watch. At some point, it's just going to yoink in one direction. It's going to liquidate everybody who's right next to it. Watch this shit. Yeah. Damn, y'all are going to hold me accountable for this, aren't I? Yeah, if Bitcoin hits $200,000 this run, I will dance on live stream. Oh, Julie. Bro, say hit the sound again. Well, I got liquidated on my short time to go back to Uber. Yo, Hack really going through it, bro. Hack is going through it. Anything fun happening on Twitter right now or no? I can't see because I'm fucking suspended. All right. Yo, the NFL theme song's been in my head all day. Like that bum, 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 bum. Oh, there it is. Let's see. Where are we at? Where's the next set at? 102.7? That's pretty far. I don't think that's what they're chasing. Yeah, that's not what they're chasing right now. Maybe just these little ones. 104. Maybe a little quick back test to 104 and then a rip back upwards. Maybe. Who knows? Huh? Little three-wave downwards. Boom, 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 boom. Who's to say that wasn't wave 5? You know, I disagree with this thing sometimes. Anyway. Thoughts on Sonic? Love it. Shout out to Phantom. Shout out to S. Shout out to Sonic. Yo. I don't care what y'all say. Glorilla has good songs. I'll argue it till the day I die. I'll die on this Glorilla hill and I don't care. Yeah, I don't. That's not a game I like playing. Bad News Daily just popped up on my phone. I did not subscribe to that. I got liquidated break even. I'm from Afghanistan, and I got liquidated because of USA America. I think USA wants to go to war again. What? Oh my goodness. I never said I would never scalp. I just don't scalp during moments like these, which are probably the best times to scalp, but I just don't I don't have time for it, really. When is your next Trading Academy class coming out? Next week. Next week. We have a lot coming out next week as a result of the merge. The merge, which I haven't talked to you all about publicly a lot, but stay tuned. Saturday morning, I'll be releasing a video that will be titled, I Have Big News. And that'll be the video you want to watch. XCN. If y'all aren't drinking water while you're watching this stream, I'm going to ban you. Drink your water. Looks like a macro golden zone rejection, if I had to guess. That's the one, Danielson. XCN right now is running into a little bit of resistance. Any battle signals? Battle zone, no battle signals. I would assume we got some on the minutes as we got up there, though. Let's see. I'm looking for any right here. Yeah. XCN is going to be in a bit of a battle for a little while right now, so I would just be careful with it. You saw the battle signals flashing on the shorter term time frames up here. That just means as we got up here, we're getting extremely overbought, meaning it took a lot of momentum to get up here. Now that we've hit the golden zone, it is pulling back a little bit. It's seeing a rather fast rejection, which is a good sign. And as you can see, I would assume, yeah, it's resetting back within the Bollinger Band envelope pretty cleanly. So I would assume this pullback won't last forever. Like, it shouldn't take too long, but it does feel as if this is a macro rejection, some sort of back test off of this golden zone. So just be very careful while XEN is below this 41-cent level. But once it does inevitably work its way up and through this golden zone, I think opening the door to a push up towards six I think I said 41 earlier. That's not what I meant. 4.1. I think it'll very likely be able to push up to 6.1 to 8.4 cents once it can clear this golden zone. So the best thing to do right now with XEN, watch that golden zone like a hawk. It's just really getting started. On the daily, I would assume, yeah, it did get a pretty solid and sizable reset back to the 70. XEN is one of those ones that is super like high right now. It's super overbought on many of the macro indicators, so I would be careful with it. But even on something like the 4 hour, it does imply that there still could be a little bit of room to run a little bit further. You just got to see how it plays out. Obviously, the macro risk here is that the bigger correction could happen at any given point. This thing has been just absolutely running for weeks now, and so at any given point, it could just drop back down. But I would be willing to say that some sort of, some sort of continuation upwards could be under play. You just got to really watch the golden zone. So for now, I wouldn't really do much until we see this golden zone either reject the price back below 2.5 or it clears the golden zone at 4.1. That's what's going to be your trigger to know where this thing's very likely going for like more extended period of time after that. Okay, boys and girls. Thoughts on Dogelon Mars token? I have no thoughts on Dogelon Mars token, but Quan J, I do appreciate the super chat. My friend, shout out to you. I appreciate the $2. One thing that I will say is I feel like that one has been around since 2021. All the memes are going to be very risky for time going, so I'll just be very careful with them. Jasmy is okay. I've definitely struggled with Jasmy a little bit recently because it's just not shown me the signs of life that you would hope for, and so because of that, I'm just kind of in a bit of a pause moment with Jasmy right now. Not buying, not selling, not doing anything, just waiting, watching, and seeing how it plays out. And I appreciate the donation, of course. Frank says, "Hope you're having a great day. Was wondering what you think of Ondo." Oh, we went over that one. Okay, shout out to you guys. I'm just a dude who watches these charts all day long, whenever I can. I wonder what Kate O'Neill is doing. Bro, what are these chatters? Tyler, can you tell me how to gamble my money, short or long? Are the stream? Yeah, they're kind of always like this, but it's okay. Dramas is just joking. God damn it. That's not what I meant. Okay. What y'all trading? They're always trading some shit. Let's see. Ooh, coffin trading on ADA right now. Interesting. Ooh, nice. Very nice. What's that? 100x long trade on Solana. 50x on HBAR and 50x on BTCC. Nice DI Bents. Great one. DI Bent's been making such great progress. I love to see it. Good for him. Any gainers or no? Let's see. I know they were trading the volatility earlier. Let's see. 157, 82% gain. Shorter on Fartcoin after 116% gainer on Fartcoin. Look at all these Fartcoin trades. That's so stupid. Look at all these Fartcoin trades. My word. What has my community come to? What has my community come to? Not a ton of gains since FOMC, though. They're probably still sitting in these trades. Let's see. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. Nice. Oh, God. I see Hat coming in. March 15th. Your boy's wedding is on March 15th. Somebody just asked me if I would join the Taliban for $1 million. Yeah. Hack just had to subtle flex real quick. Hack just had to subtle flex. 50x BTC USD2 perpetual short trade. Open price 106, basically 107,000 currently set. Hack, how long are you keeping this open? Listen, I never said you can't make money shorting. I'm just saying I don't, because I don't want nothing to do with it. But a 14,000 gainer banana ski. Hack, send me some, bro. Stop playing. Send me $10. And then I'm gonna invest it in a fart coin on 100x long. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, the gains in this community are so dumb. My goodness. Any else today? Let's see. Nothing today. Damn. Quick little L there, but that's okay. Someone said, do you think, let's see, let me jump back in. Do you think we need an end to QT or lower interest rates or drastic physical policy change by the Trump administration to get a sizable pump by altcoins? Probably so. We could see an altcoin pump similar to November and December without it, but with minimal catalyst right now, I think it would take a catalyst to do it. That catalyst could be as simple as institutions just buying altcoins. That could spark it. Anything can spark it at any given moment. But yeah, I do think these things that you just mentioned here would help for sure. And Omar, obviously much appreciated, my friend. All love, all love, all love. Much, much, much appreciated. We literally don't need anything but money in the market. QE is not what y'all think. Honestly, it would be better just for a couple months in the market, but y'all won't be there when it comes. So, Ali, why are you so mean? Why are you being so pessimistic? Quantitative easing is just about what you expect. It's the economy being placed under less constraint. It'll start at the top. Banks will benefit from it the most. Institutions will benefit from it the second most. And retail investors will benefit from it last and the least. But it will be beneficial. I started full-time trading about 1.5 years in. And then I stopped full-time trading whenever I went full-time into YouTube. And I just trade part-time. And I have a team of people who trade for me kind of on a daily basis-ish. I'm not trying to nag. I want to apologize to see my message. I just want you to know we could collab on the valuation piece. Yeah, what are the intangibles? I don't know what that even means. Shout out to you, Luke. Shout out to you, homie. Happy to have you, Prin. What are your thoughts on Avalanche? It's not been going up or down since much. Same goes for Chainlink. I would say those two are valuable. Obviously, they have the timeline value, right? Like they've been around. They have a lot of credibility, a lot of downside and upside metrics to study. So I would say they're pretty good. But in terms of overall return, I'm not quite sure they're my top picks. Thank you, everybody, for the wedding. Congrats. Let's see. Tyler is... I don't get it. I'm missing this one. I'm sorry. I tried. Why don't you set up a Blue Sky or Mastodon account? I don't know. Just probably busy, I guess. I haven't really thought about it that much. I feel, are they like, I don't know. Like, I feel like no one's on it. Are there people on it? Like, would anybody look? Like, is that valuable or no? What are your thoughts on, what are your thoughts on D-Wave? Ooh, what's that? D-Wave Quantum and all the quantum computing investments. I don't really have much of a thought on that. That's a little bit outside of the realm of my peanut brain. I do obviously know quantum computing is going to be a massive proponent, especially if AI does continue in the direction that it's going. But when it comes to it from a financial perspective, I'm not the guy to ask. I'm going to be super honest with you. I got no clue. I'm very, very, very peanut brained, and I focus just specifically on like 4 things. I have my stock portfolio, my real estate portfolio, my crypto portfolio, and cash. And I got some watches here and there. But that's about all I look at all day. Did you catch that Powell said banks can now serve crypto customers? He also said that they intend to reduce balance sheet size. Yeah, both 2 good things. Both two very good things. What's happening? Oh, dude, it's going to be gnarly when it happens. It's going to be gnarly when it happens. Am I on the same chart? No, I'm not. Okay, I was about to say, there's no way this is the same chart. Oh, snap. Here we go. Oh, y'all can't see that. My bad. I told y'all this shit was going to happen. This little breakout. Yo, wait. Oh, shoot. We drew that. We literally drew that earlier. Someone go find it. I did this, and then I said this, and then this. I bet. Oh, I wish I'd have left it on the. It was obviously an accident. I'm not claiming that I knew this was going to happen. Damn. I wish I'd have left my drawing on the screen. I feel like it was almost exactly what happened. That's crazy. Huh? All right, let's see. I think someone just called me Afghani. I am not Afghani. I am not drinking alcohol. I am drinking water. I haven't been able to drink alcohol since Halloween night. What a night that was. Damn, I wish I'd have left that drawing on. That's annoying. Because I don't remember when I did it. I'd go rewatch it. Well, this is clear as day. Let's see. Let's see how this plays out. I'm very curious. Anyway. Oh, I gotta plug my computer in. I don't know where my charger's at though. I see it, then I lose it. Goes like right here somewhere. Oh, maybe that's not it. Damn. One sec. It's gonna be me. Yo, I wish I could play actual music on here. Maybe I can. I just don't know how. I cannot figure out where my charger goes. I see the cable. Oh, there you are. Oh. Y'all think they're gonna take my stream down if I put on some tunes or no? Probably so, right? All right, what y'all talking about? Will the market go up or down now? I don't think it's really gonna go anywhere. I value intangible assets like private companies, customer relationship. Are you in the school? Are you in the school? You don't have to be. I'm just asking. If you're not on the school, message me on Twitter. I'd love to hear more about that. Hey Tyler, I have to retract what I said earlier. My average buy-in was not 126, it was 115. Just made the calculation correct. Oh, good, very good. That's even better, dude. Congratulations. Great stuff. Thanks so much for this live stream. I love watching this live stream and Live Action Indicator. Definitely interested in joining your school. Well, we'd be happy to have you. If not, man, look, I'll be live streaming multiple times a week going forward. Shout out to you. Yeah, I know. I just said to follow me on Twitter. My stupid ass Twitter is still suspended. All right, here we go, baby. Oh snap! Prepare for possible liftoff. My wife and I know nothing about trading. How complicated is your trading school? I would give it until after Saturday, things will change. On Saturday, we're gonna have a beginner's course that literally walks you through what crypto is, how it works, how technical analysis works, trading, all that stuff. So just stay tuned. Don't give drama the 100. Give it to me. I work with blind kids. What 100 are we talking about? Wait, what? Why am I giving someone $100? I saw another one. You can join with the Patreon link in the description below. We're traced to the 0.5 level around 3.0 trillion. Where's that at? The 0.50 level on what? Oh, I guess you're probably going bottom top, right? Where's that 0.5 level? What fib are you tracking? What was your swing high, swing low targets? Because what I have it as is a pullback towards, like, on a macro sense, like a big macro sense, would be more like 2.0 to 2.25. I don't see that happening though. I think we're in extension mode. Okay. Was Jerome hawkish? No, I wouldn't say so. He was rather neutral. Why are there a lot hey Tyler, why are there a lot saying gaming coins would do well this cycle and there are no successful crypto gains since Axie Infinity, which only succeeded because it was pay to earn? Because I think you have to look forward into the future, right? The gaming industry is not really going to go anywhere. And realistically, if there is a moment in time where the gaming industry does catch a lot of momentum again, you could rather expect crypto to be tied into that to some degree. But I definitely would agree in some sense that, like, the gaming industry is one that I still think should do pretty well, but it is obviously just up for speculation. We're just hoping that it does well, because if it does do well, then obviously gaming cryptos will do well. Yeah, no. Yeah. I see you. I just don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm not. No. I was just talking about the fibs. Don't worry about that. Bro was gooning. Can I put on some tunes? There's a song I want to put on. If they take my stream down, I'm sorry. I'll just hang out with y'all tomorrow. I just don't know how to do it. Not very inclined here, boys and girls. When it comes to this whole streaming stuff. Wait, let me go look at Bitcoin real quick. I want to see what happened. Oh, snap. It's getting juicy. I'll show y'all in a second. They said don't do it. They're going to take you down. Just want to put the vibes on. Hopefully they don't. I just wonder how I'd do that. Let's see. There has to be a way I can make, like, a new little layout, right? All right, I don't know what I just did. Okay. It's gonna be me. What if I did this? Oh, I don't know how to do it. Never mind. The FBI is watching. I don't think so. Yo, Hack said he's gonna report me. Hack, how about you take your $14,000 and leave me alone? Oh man, this is getting juicy. Here we are. Battle of the Fibs. Battle of the Fibs. We got a macro rejection off the downside. Bottom side Fibonacci. Bam. Push upwards out of the descending channel. 2 purchases in here would have been juicy. I just didn't see it. And now we're going to see if this back test off of this micro Fibonacci level can be used to then break above this green Fibonacci level. A lot of rejections coming here, though. A lot of rejections. A lot of people got too far ahead of themselves. A lot of people just opened up those long trades, I'm sure, off that back test. They're trying to push it upwards, but now they're getting liquidated as a result. And ooh, we fall back in, but I'd be willing to bet this thing's going to try to recover back outside of here before that minute closes. That'll be juicy. If not, that is a rejection. You don't like to see that. Let's see. It's going to come down to this close. Do we close back above it or do we close in it? Ooh, it's getting juicy. Oh, that's ugly. You don't love to see that. I will not be freestyling today. Search up Xavier Cooks. Oh my god. Let me look it up on my phone first. Golly, why are they calling me so many times about my car? It's like, I'll come get it, relax. Imagine this, like, shuts my phone down. Someone said I look like someone named Xavier Cooks. Oh, I could see it. I think that's reasonable. Y'all think we look alike? Yes or no? Oh, wait, hold on. Yo, why are 800 of you hanging out in here with me right now? What y'all think? I can see it. That's ugly. That's ugly, ugly, ugly. You don't love to see that. You don't love to see that. U.S. market closed in 35 minutes. Yep. Look a little alike. That guy looks like 10% of this same. They're trying to tell you the bill got him because you ran it flat. Hey, leave me alone. Fake out on a descending channel, macro rejection, but we did have the ascending channel in here. These little shorter term time frames are also less reliable, but we did have this little ascending channel, which is going to then give us a couple bounce zones. We're going to have bounce zone number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, all of which should be able to push the price back out of here if it is going to go for the double bounce Skaruski. Maybe try to make a run back up there, but that rejection is not what you want to see, boys and girls. It's not what you want to see. We need to see these bounce zones hold up pretty dang on soon, try to force it back out of this descending channel and set that higher high, or we're going to be in for a world of pain. You think earnings report affects crypto? Yes, it does. It does. It's just going to introduce volatility to risk on assets. I live in the boot. Why is nobody talking about the old legendary Litecoin? Because what is there to talk about? I think that's the bigger question. Look at the hourly chart, 24-hour and 7-day of Ondo. It do be looking juicy. Let's go look. The fact that there's 800 of you just hanging out in here with me right now is hilarious, because I don't think there's been one thing of value I've said for at least an hour and a half. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, Ondo. Oh, Ondo, you look good, don't you? Ondo looks good, dude. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. So I bought some more Ondo. Been buying in this little accumulation zone. That's what I think we're in, at least. Feels like one. Don't think we got the waves going here. Nah. Dailies. Daily waves. Do we have the daily waves? Let's speculate. Yeah, daily wave shows that this could very well be the 5th wave still that we were in, or the 3rd wave still. We could be in some sort of like little 3rd wave correction down on wave 4, ready for wave 5. I think so, boys and girls. I think that's possible. Unless we saw 1, 2, 3. No, that technically couldn't work because this wave is bigger than that one. So yeah, so I mean, this points to say that we still have some room. I mean, obviously that's all speculation, but we can see here that Ondo does have all of this room to the upside to work here on the RSI. That's pretty good. What about the Bollinger Bands? How are we looking? Bollinger Bands are squeezed like grandma's lemonade. Volume is consolidating. Seeing a little bit of divergence there, which is a sign that we could be seeing a breakout soon off this accumulation zone. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Any battle signals here on the daily? I doubt it, but nah, no doubt, no battle signals here on the daily, but we are obviously bouncing off the battle zones, which is a good thing. We have that battle zone right here, this blue zone. We're bouncing off of it right now, and I would assume on the 4-hour we did get the battle zones going off. Yeah. Man, Ondo's looking juicy. Like some watermelon. That's stereotypical, but whatever. Let's see. Toshi just got listed on Binance. Oh, sweet. Cool. What's up, Aiden Fox? How you doing? The newbies are healthy. It's great. You love to see it. Can you look at the chain link chart? What time is it? What y'all think Cade O'Neill's doing? Y'all want, should we chat with Cade for a few minutes? I think we should chat with Cade for a few minutes. How y'all feel about that? He might be having internet problems. I kind of want to hear his opinion on how monetary policy. Yo, Larry, bro. Yeah, Larry, you gotta relax. Yeah, y'all both gotta relax. Hold on. Y'all gotta relax. Okay, anyway. I kind of want to hear his thoughts on how monetary policy will impact crypto, because he's a certified CPA. He's a financial advisor. He'll tell you all exactly what to do with all your money all the time. Jokes. But I actually want to hear what he has to say about it. Y'all cool with that or no? Save it for another one? Yeah, we had to get them out of there. Go back to Bitcoin. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Now that's a move. That's a move. Wow. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that. It almost makes you start to question. Probably not. Let's see what Kate's doing. Hold on.
What's up?
Kate O'Neill, do you want to come on my stream and talk about how monetary policy affects crypto?
Sure.
Okay, I'll send you the link.
Okay, so right now?
Yeah. I've been on here for like 2 hours.
Oh, wow, okay.
All right.
Let me get myself prepared.
All right, I'll send you the link. Just join whatever.
All right, sounds good, bye.
Let's get Kate O'Neill on here. These little hangout streams are fun. We can't do these all the time because I'll get burnt out, but they're definitely a good time while the time's good. Let's get this going. How do I... Let's do it like this, and then like this. And then let's do it like this. Okay. And then I'll go here. Da-da-da-da-da. How do I send a StreamYard invite on Telegram? Oh, there we go. That's how you do it. Okay. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. All right, what we got going on with Bitcoin again? Let's see. Let's get Bitcoin back up. There we go. Oh, now that's juicy. Snitz, you better get to work. You better get to work before they fire you. You can't fire. You don't get fired watching a Tyler Hill stream. There is no reason to do that. Bing bang. XRP, what's that doing? Is XRP still in our range? Yeah, XRP is still range bound. I told you it's real simple with XRP. Don't do nothing until this breaks. Either don't do anything or just buy if it gets towards like the bottom 25% of this. I actually can probably go in and descending channel this now that I think about it. Let's see. Of course I can. Of course I can. Oh, y'all want to see how I build parallel channels? Watch this. Okay, so you take one and you do it across the whole thing. And then what you do is you go to this little 50% line right here and you connect them like this. Bam. And then you draw it down like that. So you see how I set a second parallel channel within the bottom half of this parallel channel? Then you do it again. So then you go into this half of the bottom half and you draw in another one. And then you make this one green. And now what you'll have is your descending channel. So now you can see where your top 50% is, your 25 to 50% right here, and then your bottom 25%. And so now this allows me to know when to buy. If it's at the 50 or lower, I buy a little bit. If it's at the 25, I buy a little bit more. If it's at the bottom, I buy a lot more. And so I layer my purchases like this. So like layer number 1, layer number 2, layer number 3. So if like for XRP, for example, all I do is I just wait. I buy at these little levels right here, and I just wait. And eventually, almost 80 to 90% of the time, it'll just run out of here. And it'll just pump outward. So for XRP, I'm not doing anything for now. Oh, God. Wait, what? Davin, where? Where did that happen at? I don't think anything about Kira Coin. Please stop spamming. Okay, you got it. I'm sorry. Y'all know how I get. I get real muty. What's too high of a percent for the top holder to have where it's dangerous? Like over 5% is sketchy. I didn't mean to ban that guy. That sucks. Oh wait, I didn't ban him. Someone banned him. Y'all unban him. Don't ban him. Just mute him. Just temporarily mute him. Don't ban him. Ban him is kind of crazy. Okay. Somebody said that Trump just went scorched earth on Jerome Powell. Oh, buddy. Damn, you can't unban. Oh well, I'm sorry. But the spam was kind of nuts, brother. I ain't gonna lie. Let's go to my suspended Twitter account. Watch Guru? Watcher Guru. All right. If the Fed had spent less time on DEI, gender ideology, green energy, and fake climate change, inflation would have never been a problem. Fuck. Well, does anybody in here disagree with him? Curious. How you feel, chat? Yo, look at Pepe. My word. You remember I told you in the live stream this morning that Pepe was in a good buying opportunity because it was in the bottom portion of this descending channel? This look, now we're back to 50%. Uh-oh. Everyone, give a round of applause to my least favorite best friend, Kate O'Neill. How's it going?
I thought you said I was your best friend in crypto.
Nah, you're my least favorite. You're just my least favorite person in general now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that works.
What's up, dude?
Not much. You know, just I was over here grinding on some spreadsheets, and then you wanted me to come talk about monetary policy. I'm like, all right, why not?
We've been on stream bullshitting for at least an hour now. Hey, you be nice. The only avid said, "Who the fuck is this?" Are you getting? Oh, you might be echoing because of me. Hold on, guys. Y'all give me 1 second. I'm gonna go get my headphones. I'll be right back.
Sorry, guys. I don't want to talk too much, or else it'll echo. I'm not hearing an echo anymore. Is it still echoing? What's up, Jesse? No more echo. Sweet. Oh, he muted. Okay, cool. All right, well then instead of just sitting here in silence, I can talk. This is a rogue takeover of Tyler's stream, apparently. Let's see. Clark Kent grinding spreadsheets, living the dream. Yep, you guys know how it is. Tyler, we decided that this is a rogue takeover of your stream. So if
Hold
you want,
on.
you can just head out.
There we go. Oh wait, what?
I said we decided that this was a rogue takeover of your stream, so you can just head out. It's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna see you in person next week.
Yeah, I
know. Ooh. Everybody, is it echoing now or no?
When I was talking by myself, it wasn't echoing. So I think it's fine.
Tyler, you can see yourself out. Catch that on video. No. Okay, no more echo. Cool. Yeah, me and Kate are actually going to be in a city near you next week. Probably hugging and cuddling. And that's actually going to be me, Cade, Crypto Moses, and my financial friend all in one place at one time. And that's never a good combination.
True.
But yeah, we've kind of just been chatting. I don't particularly know what we've been talking about for the last about hour. We obviously went around, talked about what happened with the Fed. I don't know if you watched that or not. Yeah, kind of just, I don't know. I went on a fucking rant for at least 15 minutes straight. But overall, I mean, it's just kind of what you would expect. Did you gather anything from that of importance? Obviously, the two biggest things we picked up was that they were willing to delay things a little bit longer while they are settling into Trump's administration to see what policies he puts into place. And I think that means we're probably going to see like everything somewhat just rather slow unless there are major catalysts impacting it. Like we're not going to see a lot of economic development impacting crypto as a whole. because just not much is probably going to happen for a while while they're settling in. Those are the only things I really gathered, and also the fact that Jerome Powell is not willing to talk about things related to Trump, which is stupid if the thing Trump's talking about has something to do with the economy. But anyway.
Yeah. Don't really understand that. Like, because I'm assuming I actually didn't get to watch the FOMC because, as I mentioned, I was grinding spreadsheets, which was awesome. But from what I take away from that is he's not willing to talk tariffs, which does not seem to make any sort of sense to me, since I feel like that is very pertinent to the economy. So anyway, we'll kind of have to see how that goes. But yeah, very strange. I think this is kind of interesting because I think overall, probably, if I'm being completely honest, as a crypto holder, of course I want rates cut. But if I'm being completely honest from like an objective perspective, I don't feel like rates probably need to be cut at this point. I mean, the economy's healthy-ish. I think overall, like the fundamental data is healthy-ish. There's potentially a debt crisis brewing because of the high rates, and that may force rates to get cut a lot quicker than people expect. But also one thing that I think we need to remember is that the Fed I think intentionally says one thing and then oftentimes does another, right? Because if the Fed says, hey, we're going to bake in 4 rate cuts, long-term interest rates go down because people are expecting 4 rate cuts. If they say, oh, I actually just kidding, we're not cutting ever again, then long-term rates go up because people are not baking in that long-term adjustment to the market. So I think the Fed intentionally kind of does it that way, and they kind of, what they say and what they do are different.
Yeah. It's weird, bro. It's weird because I was talking about it, and it's like I understand the situation that the Fed's in is a bit of a pickle. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, the economy's not in a great spot, but it's not in a terrible spot. Inflation's not in a great spot, and it's not in a terrible spot. So it's like them coming out and cutting rates right now would actually be rather worrying to some degree. I think not particularly so much for someone who has a high net worth or high income or something like that, because generally those types of environments are okay. Like a highly inflationary environment isn't bad for you whenever you have a lot of money. If you have a lot of investments and you have a lot of income coming in, you're fine, right? Because quite frankly, generally speaking, when inflation rises, people look to hedge against the dollar. They find they have more liquidity, obviously, because inflation is typically a byproduct of money printing, and then assets go up. The problem is that the cost at the gas pump and the grocery store, that's where the issues arise, right? And so for me, it's a situation where it's like, I'll be honest, it's not like if inflation goes back up, it's not going to bankrupt me, but it will bankrupt a lot of people. And so if data came out and just started cutting like crazy, I'd be like, oh shit, I don't particularly think this is the best idea. You know what I mean? And so, but in the same breath, it is annoying because I don't think we would have this problem had they not gone stupidly money printing crazy. Because I've always criticized the Fed heavily for what they did after the pandemic was somewhat over. Listen, you guys can disagree with me if you want. I'm happy to argue. No one knew what was going on when the pandemic started, right? Everybody was scared. I was scared. It just was what it was. I didn't believe it for a while. And then when I did believe it and I started hearing about people I knew dying, then obviously that starts to make you a little scared, right? And so because of that, they didn't know what to do. This is unprecedented. It's not happened in modern history. So what they went ahead and did was just printed money, gave everyone money, and was like, you know what? Everyone, we'll figure it out when we get through it. We just need to get through this. That's not a terrible strategy. Could it have been better? Yes. Did they have time to figure it out? Not really, right? My problem isn't with that. So if we'd have dealt with a little bit of inflation as a byproduct of them just getting us through the first pandemic any of us had seen in our lifetimes, I'm not that mad about it. What pisses me off is that it got so much worse because after all, they went further than necessary. That's what bothers me. It's like once they could have stopped printing, they didn't because they got greedy. And so now the majority of what we're going through now is because of their greed. And now we have to rely on them to fix the problems that they caused. And if anybody criticizes them, they just don't address it. And it's just irritating,
I think it's one of those things. And I don't think this is limited to one party or the other. I think this is a politics problem. And I think the way to fix this politics problem is get rid of enforce term limits, because if you enforce term limits, people aren't incentivized to be career politicians. Because I think right now, I think it's very clear to see there's a lot of people who go into politics, dirt poor, middle class, slightly above middle class, and leave with millions of dollars. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to figure out how that happens.
Yeah.
And so but like, if you look at it, and this is why, as much as I love Elon and I think Doge and all this type of stuff is necessary, it's not, I don't actually think it's going to mean much, because what do you cut? Where do you cut? Because if you cut jobs in, Alabama, well, then the reps from Alabama are going to be pissed and they're not going to want to vote for it. You cut jobs in California, the California reps are going to be pissed and they don't want to vote for it. So it's one of those things where it's like, you can't lose. And that's kind of how we've gotten where we've gotten, is like, well, if, you're going to give people in Alabama something. Well, in order to get the California people to vote for it, you better give people in California something. You better give people in Oregon something, and Washington and Utah, whatever, all on and on all the way through. So, yeah, I mean, you cut federal jobs or buy them out. I think the buyout is pretty interesting, but you have to remember, it's the government jobs. Okay, yes, it is government jobs. Where are those government jobs, right? You fund NASA. NASA's got a whole bunch of stuff in Alabama for where they, in Florida, obviously, and Texas, obviously, because of where all the NASA stuff is. But so that's good for Texans and Floridians and Alabamians or whatever, right? But what happens when you need 50% of the people to vote for it? So what happens realistically is that people say, okay, well, we're California and we've got 50 votes in the House of Representatives. You want us to vote for your Florida and Alabama jobs? Well, we need something in return. It's not about what's good for the government. It's about what's good for getting them reelected.
Yeah.
Because then what they can do is they can go back onto their campaign trail and will be like, look, I brought you 10,000 jobs. And I think there was a stat that 105% or something like that of all jobs created in the past 2 or 3 years were government jobs, meaning the real economy actually lost jobs. It was just made up with government spending, which in my opinion is not necessarily a long-term, is not necessarily a long-term sustainability thing. Right. And so the problem comes down to is, well, how do you get rid of those? Because if you cut the ones in Alabama, the Alabama people are going to be pissed. Cut the ones in California, California people are going to be pissed. So that, to me, I think is the difficulty there, because everybody wants something to get any sort of bill passed.
It's just nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's like I feel like the older I'm getting, the more I'm recognizing just why so many people just hate politics so much, because it's so not transparent. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many underlying reasons to why things happen, and it's just when the fact that they asked Jerome Powell, I'm not going to go on the rant again because I lost it earlier, but the fact that they asked Jerome Powell specifically if Trump was to implement things that would reduce inflation as a result, or no, Trump came out and said that he was going to introduce these certain things that would reduce inflation by bringing down the cost of gas and energy. How do you think that would impact the economy? The fact that he went and said, I'm not answering that, after previously saying we have an entire team dedicated to running models on hypothetical situations, on good things and bad things, is wild to me. And it's like, that's the type of shit that, it'll make my skin. If you want to watch something fun, go back to about 45 minutes into this live stream, or 50. I was losing it. That's the type of stuff that just gets under my skin. But all that to say, kind of with this going forward, okay, we know where we're at when it comes to the economy, right? We have an economy that's in a bit of a standstill. We have employment numbers and stuff doing okay, right? CPI data, PPI data coming in okay, and inflation being a little bit sticky and giving us some problems. In a situation like this, how do you see that impacting crypto, I guess? Because my guess is that it's just going to remain rather stable. There's not going to be those economic forces having an impact on crypto, so it's going to take good or bad catalysts to move it. How do you think, the economy right now is impacting crypto, and what doors do you think it opens for the future, I guess?
I mean, I think this is maybe a little bit of an unpopular opinion, in the sense that, I think this is good for crypto, right? Real industries don't move on what the Fed does or move on what, the whims of what certain people say. real industries are based on the value they can provide and the value that they generate. And so to me, it seems pretty, it seems pretty straightforward to me that if you have a real industry that can produce real value, irrespective of what, whether the Fed cuts rate 0.25% or not, like it's either going to get stronger or get weaker based on how it can perform. And so, obviously certain things like Bitcoin, that's going to be somewhat pegged, kind of to the overall economy because, as people have more money, they may want a place to store it. And then of course, if there's more demand to store your money, then price will go up over time. Yeah. So, certain things like that, I think will impact, but I mean, like, look at Solana, Solana supposedly is a chain that generates fees, and those fees should generate money, and that money should get paid out to holders. Again, now maybe it's not holders of the coin because then you get into the whole security thing or whatever, right? But as an investor of Solana, let's just take the Solana coin completely off the table. What's up, Zach? How's it going?
Shout out to Zach Humphreys. What's up, dude?
But if you take all of that off the table, then it's pretty straightforward. Of like, does Solana get more or less valuable? It gets more valuable because more people are spending money through it. They collect more fees. It's kind of like more of like the marketplace type of situation, right? Like that's why Facebook's valuable. That's why Google's valuable. It's why Amazon's valuable for that same reason. So that to me is where crypto, I think, goes in eventually. Right now, I do still think it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of narratives. It's a lot of this type and that type of stuff, which I don't necessarily think is the best thing overall long term, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What can you do? What can you do? And it's one of those things, man, where it's like at the end of the day, it's just we're all going to just be a part of it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I think, I always say it so much, but it just comes down to your strategy of it all. Because if you have a solid strategy, my strategy is so simple that even when we've had these periods where things are going up and down and up and down, I've not really been impacted by it. I don't really particularly care. I've cared more recently because I know my subscribers are doing things, right? So like the Discord community, I see them buying or selling. And so because they don't just do everything I do. And I love that about the community. They don't just follow me mindlessly because that's stupid. But it does make me feel a little more emotional when I see the market go up or down because I know how it's impacting them. And so for me, it's just very simple. When we're in HMZs, high manipulation zones, I buy at the bottom of them and I don't really do anything else. When we break out of them and we have a clear trend direction, I start to trade. And once that trend direction breaks market structure, I stop trading. And like it's just the way that I go. And I respect the fact that some people, similar to yourself, do a lot more range-based trading, right? Whereas we're in a clear identifiable range, it's simple. You just obviously short towards the top, set your stop losses, long towards the bottom, set your stop losses, and wait for the trend to break. I respect that. I don't particularly like it just because I know this manipulation, and the way that you can really avoid the manipulation is setting your stop losses so far away you can avoid the wicks, but I think those wicks will find you anyway. And so to me, it's just one of those, I don't like to be a part of it. But yeah, and so there's just that. Now, how do you think going forward, let's say the time comes around where Jerome Powell comes out and says, look, we're cutting interest rates right now. Like, interest rates are dropping, quantitative easing kicks in. Give me a breakdown of how that starts to impact crypto. Also, by the way, before you answer that question, guys, if you don't go subscribe to Cade's channel right now, I'm going to be very upset with you. You can go check his channel out at the Cade O'Neill, because he is the Cade. He's not just a Cade. He's the Cade O'Neill, where you can get a bunch of info about a bunch of stuff. ADA, Jasmy, HBAR, the general market, DeepSeek, everything that you could be looking for. Very new on the come up. Started his channel a couple months ago, and he's absolutely smashing it. So go check out to him. He is your financial advisor. He's not on the screen, so he can't argue with me. He is your financial advisor. He'll tell you exactly what to do with your money all the time. There's just that. But anyway, say Jerome Powell comes out right now. Welcome back, Cade, by the way. I know you can hear me. Say Jerome Powell comes out right now and he said he's cutting interest rates. How does that systematically impact crypto?
Yeah, so I would say I would say, first off, not financial advice, because these are just my thoughts and opinions on things. I can always be wrong. Actually, I was wrong the other day. I have a perfect example of how I was wrong. But we can go into that a little bit later. So, but yeah, I mean, I think what happens is ultimately, Jerome Powell says they cut rates. In my opinion, more than anything else, I actually think quantitative easing makes a bigger difference to crypto than interest rate cuts. I think interest rate cuts are relatively arbitrary. I think they're somewhat of an indicator of a larger trend, meaning quantitative easing.
I was going to
would say
ask, do you not just look at quantitative or interest rate cuts as just a small portion of quantitative easing?
No, because the two aren't necessarily combined.
Okay.
Quantitative easing didn't, like, interest rates have existed for a long time, right? Quantitative easing truly didn't, I mean, it kind of happened, but it truly, in the scale that we understand it as now, didn't happen until the great financial crisis.
Okay.
Because prior to that, the Fed kept stuff on their balance sheet, but it's kind of more of like more of a formality, that type of stuff. The essentially what happens with the quantitative easing type of thing is, in the great financial crisis, people like the banks, the too big to fail banks, were going to fail, right? And so, in as a way to stop that, the government was basically just like, we'll just buy it all and we'll just hold it. And so now, unfortunately, the Treasury has kind of played a part in the market where they're the biggest buyer in the market, right? Like, it's not BlackRock, it's not Vanguard, it's not any of those. It's the government, the federal government. And so, if we look at like why crypto went so crazy, at least in my opinion, part of the reason that crypto went so crazy during COVID is because the government pumped $6 trillion into the market, which massively inflated basically prices for everything, right? Because they were essentially trying to buy the dip and be the floor on the market, so there wasn't like a full-on collapse, right? Understandable, but also, now they have $9 trillion worth of stuff on their balance sheet, and they've been selling that off slowly but surely over the past several years. But the government still has, I think, like $6.9 trillion of stuff sitting on their balance sheet. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot of stuff sitting on the balance sheet of an entity whose like primary goal is not to make money, right? That, to me, it kind of like it produces some possibly like perverse incentives. And so obviously they've been selling that off. But if we start quantitative easing again and they start buying more assets, essentially that's essentially just getting inflated into the currency as it stands, right? You can lower interest rates and continue quantitative tightening and essentially selling off the assets that are on the Fed's balance sheet. Those are kind of different, right?
Okay.
Like, you can do one and the other. They both kind of fly in the face of each other, but from like fiscal policy, that to me makes sense. I don't know why the government should be a large player within the stock market. That doesn't seem to make a whole ton of sense to me. So like that could be a way in which like you could start to do that, right? But if they start quantitative easing again after they already have $6 trillion worth of assets on their balance sheet, then essentially, money printer goes on again and people start buying more and more, or the government starts buying more and more, which means by like realistic financial metrics, maybe some of these things aren't a good buy anymore, because there is an entity who is not actually worried about whether they can make money or not buying stuff. And so then people start to look other places like crypto, because they're, again, interested in a profit. So
what are some things are there any examples of that? Like what are some things that would maybe not be so appealing, like bonds, or are we talking like what?
Like risk stocks. So think about something like, I have a tech company, or actually we'll just use COVID as a great example, right? I have a restaurant. My restaurant was making, let's say the value of my restaurant, we don't have to go into like the financial metrics behind it all, but we'll just say the fair market value of my restaurant pre-COVID was $1 million. So people would be trading, and let's say I had 1 million shares, right? So the price of my restaurant would be $1 per share. Well, now COVID hits, revenues plummet 70, 80, 90%. Maybe the fair value of my restaurant is now 30 to 40 cents. It's plummeted. Realistically, like that is the value of the restaurant. But the government, in order to prevent a 60% decline, is like, no, we're buying it at 80 cents on the dollar, 100%, no matter what, we're buying it at 80 cents on the dollar. So now what you have is you have this disconnect, right? You have people who are actually interested in making money saying, I will only pay between 30 and 40 cents on this asset because that's fundamentally what it's worth, discounted cash flows, all that type of stuff. And the government says, we don't care what it's worth. We just don't want the number to go down. So we're going to buy it. And that's kind of where you get to where we're at now. And then obviously there's a point at which you need to unload that type of stuff. But then if you what we have been seeing right now is in a generally strong economy, prices, I mean, obviously the stock market's done relatively well, right? But like, especially like relating to like how well the market could be doing, it hasn't done particularly well because there's been an extra $3 trillion offloaded in the good period. So essentially what they're trying to do is flatten things, right? The like peaks get lower, but the troughs also get higher because you have this like range bound market maker selling and buying at the bottoms and the tops.
Makes sense. So one of the general ways I look at quantitative easing or even interest rate cuts are that the benefits start at the top and work themselves down. Right. So like whenever the Fed makes moves, they're not going to really do anything that's actually going to generally impact the everyday person. Usually what it more looks like is, say, they cut rates or they do what they want, and then the mortgage company decides what they're going to do, and then what the mortgage company decides to do then impacts the retail person who goes to buy the house, right? And so I guess to me it's one of those situations where it's like, based on history, and I don't know if you've looked into this or not, I haven't, but based on history, how long does it take? Let's say if they decide like, all right, boom, quantitative easing right now, money printer turns on now. I guess the two issues with this question is that, one, I was going to ask is how long does that usually take to impact crypto? But I guess the fact of the matter is that once people see that, they're going to front run it one way or another. So they're going to start factoring and pricing that into their investments, assuming that their investments will go up as a result of it. Then it'll take that quantitative easing to actually, or easing to intrinsically get that asset to the price that it should be based off what investors front run it up to. Anyway, so I guess the question I'm asking is it like an immediate thing based in history? Like quantitative easing starts, they actually start printing money or doing everything they're going to do. Then assets like stocks or whatever, do they kind of like immediately start moving as a result of that? Or does it take time? Does it take a year to actually play a part?
Both, right? Because I mean, the theory, at least, this isn't always the case, right? But the theory is that the market is efficient. So the market is trying to price in future information at all points in time. So for example, like we talked about earlier, if the Fed says they're going to do 4 rate cuts in 2025, the prices on long-term interest rates are going to go down, even though the actual rates haven't actually changed at all. Right. And the reason that they're going down is because the market's efficient, right? They're saying, well, if interest rates are 5% right now, but we think they're going to be 4% in a year, let's just offer our interest rates at 4.5% right now, because even though we're taking a 0.5% discount today, in a year from now, we're actually going to be 0.5% ahead. And if these people are locked into 30-year loans or whatever, then we're happy with that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Huh. It's a lot moving parts. Okay. So then I guess outside of that, so kind of having the idea of what's going on with the Fed down, is there anything from the White House you're keeping an eye out on? Like, obviously we know Bitcoin strategic reserve, cool. Like everyone gets that. But is there anything else that you can think of that would be like, what's the word? Like substantial, I guess, that the White House could do or introduce that would have some sort of impact either directly or indirectly on crypto? Like obviously some things that I am looking at are tariffs. That's obviously a huge one because that is going to have an impact on the economy. A lot of people have an opinion or a belief that deportations will impact the labor market, which will then impact the economy, which will then impact crypto. I see it. I feel like we're reaching a little bit with that one. So I guess what are you looking at from the White House perspective in terms of things that they have talked about doing or possibly may do that could actually impact crypto?
I think a lot of the market stuff it's trying to separate like the signal from the noise, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of just kind of guessing that goes on when, people say rates are going to go up. Oh my gosh, prices go down. Oh, except, rates didn't go up. So now prices go down and, things like that. So, there's a lot of guessing that goes on for me in terms of like tangible things that we can hold on to that I think have like a fundamental impact on the market. I think would be the SEC and getting clarity on, see you later, Davin. But I think getting clarity on like, can people distribute? Like, for example, can Solana distribute fees from their chain to holders? That technically is defined as a security by the SEC, which means they need to get registered with the SEC. now there's this whole issue of, okay, well, how can people do that? Is there like a fast track route to do that for various crypto projects? What does that look like? Because essentially, if you see something like that, where that is now enabled, well, now real investors are going to start to come into crypto in various capacities, right? Because now you can actually earn real yield. And I think that's part of the issue with crypto right now, particularly with US sanctioned cryptos, is like, if you think about Solana, as a Solana holder, what really is the value of Solana? I mean, you can't do anything. Like, you can use it on the Solana network, right? But like, it doesn't actually bring you recurring value in any sort of way. Like, if I spend $240 on Solana, what is my hope? That the price of Solana goes higher. Well,
I guess
why?
staking's only.
Yeah, I mean, staking is probably it, but like, even still, staking is kind of a way of like getting money back, like with the investment that you have. That's kind of like the platform fees that we're talking about. So that's like, getting clarity there is going to be the hard part, is because that is what we need to get clarity on overall. It's like same thing with like Uniswap. If you buy Uniswap and you get 50% of their, protocol fees, I know this is what happens, right? But this is why they're receiving Wells notices, is because that's technically a security. So some of this stuff is like actually securities, and that's why people are, I think, a little bit nervous, and why, in my opinion, institutions won't touch it. If the government can clarify, then that changes.
And that aligns with my theory. Because you remember you and I spoke about a week and a half ago, and I told you I'm starting to develop a theory that this is going to be labeled the institution cycle in like a decade. Everyone's going to look at this cycle and think that was the institution cycle. It's starting to paint the picture now. Bitcoin obviously ran based on institutions. Obviously, there's no debating that. That's just what happened. XRP and Solana are two of the most institutionally backed cryptos that there is, right? In terms of just general market cap controlled by venture capitalists and private equity, or mostly venture capital, but whatever. So the way that I'm starting to see it is that the way that the question I had for a while is, well, I know how Bitcoin grows because of institutions. I struggle to see how altcoins grow because of institutions. And I think what happens here is that as we start to get regulatory clarity based off of what is and is not allowed with altcoins, it opens the door for them. Therefore, institutions start to see them as an actual opportunity rather than just only a risk. Because a lot of institutions just look at altcoins as a risk. Like, yeah, we can make gains, but we might get sued. You got to think, altcoins are already risky. Now add into addition to that the fact that you might go to jail, quote unquote. You won't actually, but right. So if you remove that, it starts to just become a speculative investment that they can do, because institutions are willing to make speculative bets and risk. There are institutions directly built for speculative investing, high risk, high return institutions. And I think what's starting to happen is that we're starting to recognize that the institution cycle can find its way into altcoins through regulatory clarity, through things like the SEC Crypto Task Force and things of that nature. If you're going to see an ETF that is based around altcoins, this is what's going to get it there. And it makes a lot of sense. And obviously, retail investors are around, and retail investors will contribute to some degree. But I think the majority of gains from this cycle will be because of institutions. Just like the last couple cycles, the majority of gains were because of retail, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think that's why like the regulatory clarity matters, right? Because there's one acronym that matters in all of investing, in my opinion, and that's DCF, right? Discounted cash flows. How much money can this company make me on a recurring basis at some point, at some time horizon, right? That could be the next 5 minutes from now. That could be the next 10 years from now. It could be, everybody's going to have a different kind of way to view that, right? But the problem is DCF does not really exist in crypto other than like liquidity farming. And so going in, I think the reason that we've seen institutions go into Bitcoin, and the reason that Bitcoin has been so successful, is because there's no expectation of discounted cash flows, right? It's just like gold. Nobody expects to earn like recurring passive yield on their gold. It's purely a store of value.
Right.
And that's why it's valuable. And I think with Bitcoin, it's that's a very simple proposition. Where you start to get to something like Ethereum or Solana or anything, like basically fill in the blank with anything else in crypto, there's got to be some expectation that at some point in the future, it makes you money somehow.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for example, Solana, the institutions and the investors in Solana, they actually are the ones collecting revenue and fees, right? So right now, they're more than happy to burn money, lose money actively, constantly, on Solana, but it's because they have the expectation that at some point in the future, again, it's the network effect. Solana will grow large enough. They will bring in billions of dollars potentially, of revenue. And then that is how they get their investment back. So I think we're seeing a lot of this. And this is where like the crypto markets, in my opinion, is it's like a tale of two markets, right? That you have the liquid markets, which are fine, but usually a lot of these projects come out at highly inflated values because all of the gains have already been eaten up by VC, and VC is the ones kind of dumping on retail to an extent. So, there's a level of that, but then there is also like, there's not like, you can't just go launch a project tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that I think is kind of the issue.
Yeah. That makes sense. And like I said, it just kind of aligns very well with the theory that because the altcoin landscape is so primitive and it's so brand new and early that a lot of these major players aren't going to want to touch it. They're not going to want to touch it. And this is how you start to see this market somewhat traditionalize to some degree, because people always say, well, we're Web3 and we don't want to be like Web2. And it's like, I hate to break it to you. The reason Web2 is like it is because it's had so much time to develop. They've realized this is the best way for it to be, and so that makes a lot of sense. And it starts to kind of play into, again, this theory that I'm developing that maybe this is just the institution cycle. I just can't imagine that we're going to see retail investors by the truckload just come into this market. We saw it for a flash with Trump coin, and it didn't trickle into the rest of it took the president of the United States endorsing something, and that lasted for a week.
Yeah.
Most of the investors, based on on-chain analysis, the vast majority of the investors who came into crypto for the first time to buy Trump coin are gone. So it's like they didn't come and stay. They left. And so to me, it's just, I feel like it's the institution cycle. And is that me saying that there's not going to be any gains? Oh, no, absolutely not. Institutions can make shit fly, right? But it's not going to look the same. And I think I get nervous when I say things out loud like this might be the time it looks different, because it almost never does look different. But it could be. Now, the thing about that is, though, is like, can you change strategy because of that? I don't think fully, but I think one thing that you could do is start looking at the things that make the most sense. What cryptos from an institutional perspective would be the most appealing? And obviously you start to talk about XRP. You maybe start to consider Solana, but Solana is a little bit more with Solana, it comes down to, are they willing to take the risk that comes with Solana? Because now you got meme coins and pump.fun and kids showing crazy shit on live streams to get their cryptos to pump. That's all attached to Solana, and the good things and the bad things. But then you also start to think something like Cardano, something that's a US-based crypto that has ties to the government that is going to be able to contribute, right? Like, it starts to make you question, and I think I'm almost at a spot now where I want to look more in depth for cryptos that are appealing to institutions. And I guess I'd have to reverse engineer that into thinking, what would an institution look for in a crypto, and then build a profile and then build a portfolio, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's relatively simple about what an institution wants, and it's to make money, right? Yeah. Maximize value for its shareholder or for its shareholders. And part of this, and I actually, so when I was at Permissionless last October, there was a lot of conversation going around specifically Solana and Ethereum. And one of the things that was interesting was, how do you value them, right? Do you value them like a traditional business? Because, FY Advisor, they made a comment that I thought was pretty, it was like essentially spot on, right? You have to build a cash burn model and compare that to other commodity type investments or guidelines, public company multiples. That is the issue, right? And what we're trying to figure out is, well, what are we comparing it to? Are we comparing it to like a traditional, kind of service-based business, or even just like a SaaS type company that has one type of multiple? Or are you comparing it to like an Amazon or a Google or a, Facebook or something that has like insane network effects, where it's like the larger the network is, the bigger it becomes and the more valuable it becomes. I think that's why like things like Solana and Ethereum and things like that, in addition to just being crypto, are so volatile. So people are trying to price in like, what even is this, right? And I think that's why we've potentially seen Ethereum actually have such a rough time this cycle is because a lot of the value that their chain provided, they're actually kind of farming out to their layer twos,
Yeah.
right? They're kind of adding in a middleman where the layer twos are also now taking a piece of the value that the Ethereum chain could provide. Where with Solana, it's just all Solana. And Ethereum is basically making the claim that, well, the tech just isn't possible, right? So we have to farm out. Solana, you just haven't figured that out yet. And Solana's claim is, well, no, I think that's dumb. We can figure the tech out, and all of the value accrual is going to stay on the Solana layer 1. Where right now there's a lot of things kind of being pushed towards Ethereum layer 2s and more like app chains, stuff like that. So
yeah, and I think they're also just kind of coping a little bit, right? Because I mean, even if you look at some of the different layer 2s, something like Polygon's not performed well. You know, it's not done bad. It's just not performed well. And I think it's just Ethereum is coming to recognize that maybe they were the giant that everybody's going to build on top of the shoulders of, right? In the sense that there's always going to be the first ones that start to lay the foundation, but eventually people will come around and make a better version of what you have. And Ethereum was very dismissive of Solana in the very beginning, and people pretend like they weren't. They were, saying that, well, they're not going to be able to figure it out because they thought they had everything down pat. Then they recognize that other companies can solve these problems, and they realize maybe it's just too late, right? And does that mean that Ethereum isn't going to be huge? Of course Ethereum's going to be huge. It's hard for Ethereum not to be huge, but I genuinely believe one day Ethereum won't be the number 2 crypto. I don't think it will be, you know. And you said something on the phone the other day. I think it was about AOL, right? Was it Google and AOL or something
or
along
Yahoo,
those lines?
I think
right?
at that point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Yahoo, right? In the sense that it's like you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. You kind of shoot yourself in the foot whenever you start to think that, well, you're just too young, you haven't figured it out yet, right? Like, okay, maybe they are on to something. And so to me, I guess just like that makes a lot of sense. And I want to just start diving more into the institutional side of things. I want to try to become a lizard person, I guess, because it's like that seems obvious to me that this is going to be an institution cycle. The more I've thought about it, the more obvious it's become. And like you said, it comes down to just a couple factors, but the main one being they want to make money and they don't want to. I think it comes down to simply they want to make money and they don't want to put their shareholders at too much risk, more risk than the shareholders are willing to take, because it's a credibility problem. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, ultimately, the ratio that a lot of these guys use is the Sharpe ratio, right? Which indicates risk-adjusted returns. And that's mostly what they're looking for is, yes, I could make 100x on this, but it's also very, like, almost certain that I lose 100% of what I put in. Okay, well, maybe the risk-adjusted returns on that are not particularly great, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Huh. Well, damn. Okay, good. Well, shoot, you answered my questions that I had. I want to jump on this chart real quick, because I am noticing we've been tracking Bitcoin on the 1 minute. So basically this whole time we were tracking this little liquidity hunt that happened back here on stream. And Bitcoin's giving us a weird run right now, honestly. We're starting to see the bullish divergence kicking in. As you can see here, obviously we have the lower highs, but we have the lower lows and the higher lows. I would assume we are seeing the battle signals flashing. Yep, battle signals are flashing right now as we're coming back for what seems to be a macro backtest and a new creation of a more macro descending structure. Wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin tries to make them run pretty soon here. Curious to see what this is going to look like. Let's see how this has shifted. Let's see. Cade probably killed my internet with his bad internet. All right, let's see. Not a huge shift. So it seems like we're kind of at a pause period right now. Maybe a little bit more downward movement to liquidate some of these smaller players, but I don't expect 100,000 to happen fast. So interesting moment here from the market, honestly, and this is not surprising, right? The volatility from the FOMC meeting to some degree is completely over already, and I think that just goes to show that that the market is reacting exactly as you would expect. Not much happened, not much news happened, so not much is going to happen here. Now we're just going to enter back into natural price movements where we're going to continue to see short-term liquidations and micro pumps and dumps on both sides. So should be a rather interesting market to pay attention to, and obviously we'll keep you updated here. I wanted to kind of bring Cade on to get a secondary opinion, just kind of about the macro sense and how what the Fed is doing can impact us and what to be on the lookout for from the White House. And yeah, I think we're gonna just keep the ball rolling. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. My car is now done. Oop, didn't mean to do that. My car is now done. They called me 3 times in the last 3 hours, left me 3 voicemails. Hey, just letting you know your car's done. So I'm gonna go pick up the car. But Kate, as always, I appreciate you jumping in, guys. Don't forget, if you do want to go check out Cade's content, you can go head over to his channel. the Kate O'Neill, because he is the Kate O'Neill, your certified financial advisor, to get some good stuff. And then Cade's obviously always on the channel. Cade also does have a show over in the Discord server where he goes in and does a Q&A with Cade for premium members. So if you guys are interested, again, don't forget, you can go check out the school. It is linked down in the description below. We take crypto investors and give them a whole lot of value to help them define your strategies, because strategies are where gains are made. Starts as little as $5 a month. So feel free to go check that out. And don't forget, if you do want to sign up for WEEX or WEEX today, you can get $20 for literally just making an account and adding in some information. And if you want to KYC, which you don't have to, you can get an extra $10. Once you start trading, they'll give you up to $20,000 in bonuses and rewards with a couple terms and conditions that you can check out here. But overall, hold on one second. Hack told me to check Discord. I'm curious. What channel am I looking at? Hack been going crazy with the gains recently. So I'm curious to see what. Oh, Hack. Oh, my buddy Hack. 500x short trade is just absolutely stupid, Hack. But you're one of a kind, and I can't be mad at you. But with that in mind, I appreciate all you for joining in. We've been on live for 3 hours. This is the longest live stream I've done in my entire life. Don't expect us to do this super often. The 1 hour live streams are fun with me, but they have been good. Cade's actually doing some live streams recently, so maybe we'll have to go on there and do some chit chats on your next live stream, Cade. And again, thanks for jumping on, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and you're always welcome whenever you wanna come around.
Sounds good, man. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Cool. Thanks, guys.